What's up, everybody? Get on in here. I'll give you a couple minutes to get in here. This is kind of interesting what's going on right now, but I'll be right back.
And Megan Fox here at PJ Media is explaining.
What's tip 4?
Well, don't trust women. I think you just touched on that with your Dancing with the Stars.
You can still love me.
I do. I love you all the time.
Our First Amendment rights are huge. They are very important to me. They should be important to everyone.
Don't be a public official if you don't want to be filmed, ma'am.
Megan Fox.
Yes. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Megan Fox with PJmedia.com. I write there every day, and I thought that today I would just set the stream going so that you guys could watch the Alex Jones trial with me. And it was working right up until I tried to stream it. And then all of a sudden, all the streams that were live on YouTube went down and started buffering at the same time. Now, this is pretty interesting because if you look at the chat over here that's happening on the channel that I'm looking at, which is Now This News, by the way, Court TV and the copyright cucks over at the other one. What are they called? Law and Crime, Law and Cuck, those people. They have disabled all the comments so no one can talk to one another. They claim they've disabled them because of the bad things people are saying about the Sandy Hook families, which I find very hard to believe. But all of a sudden, all 3 live streams that are up on YouTube have gone dead and have buffered just when court came back into session. Just when people are starting to get interested in this trial, suddenly nobody can watch it. Do you find that interesting? I do. And you know what sucks is that I was just going to let it run while I do my work. I wasn't going to do much talking here because I have a lot of work to do and I need to be writing. And so I was just going to hang out with you guys while we kind of listen to this as I write. But this is now happening. And it's happening all over YouTube. It's not just me. Oh, no, there's trial today, Savvy Sue. I was just watching it. It's literally on. Yeah, Alex might not be testifying, but there was stuff going on. So isn't that bizarre? Isn't that weird? It's really weird. So all the live streams are down. The chat's reporting that all the live streams are down all over the world. So anybody that had cameras in the courtroom, apparently they're suddenly not there. I don't know if you guys saw the highlight of the trial yesterday. That was pretty hilarious. But maybe I should play that for you because it totally cracked me up. So let me stop this for a second. And I don't feel like turning on the camera today, so we're just going to have to go with my my photo on the screen. And besides, I have my computer set up for me to actually type and write things since that's what I was going to do. And I was hoping that the stream would come back, but it's looking like it might not. So I don't know. I might have to kill this and just get back to work. But yesterday, let me just show you what happened yesterday, because this is unbelievable. Hold on. No, my live stream is working through StreamYard, guys, but the live stream of the trial is not working on any other thing. On any other channel, it's not working. All right, let's go to yesterday in court because this is hysterical.
Correct that. First time I saw it was in court.
You've called this judge a tyrant, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you actually use that word a lot with your audience. You call people tyrants, don't you?
Only when they act like it.
Okay.
That's epic.
And one way.
I want to know why his attorney, by the way, isn't objecting right now. Why hasn't the attorney objected to putting his First Amendment rights to call government officials tyrants on trial? Are you telling me the live stream is up now? All right, let's just finish this off because it's a short clip because it's hilarious.
That you've been
And then I'll
conveying
get
to
back
your
to it.
audience that Judge Bellis has been acting like a tyrant is by showing her with lasers coming out of her eyes, right?
Lasers.
You know you did that?
I didn't direct that. First time I saw it was in court.
Oh, so you've been watching this?
Yeah, I've been watching.
Okay. You could have just watched from the stage.
Objection, argumentative.
But you've been broadcasting your show during this trial, haven't you?
I have taped some of my show.
Let's pull up 477. Just pull. This should be in already.
Oh my God, you guys.
And what was it, Ron? 477?
477.
This is the tyrant you've been telling your audience about, right? Yep.
I am dying. You guys, this is the funniest thing ever. All right, it is back. Hold on. Court is now back. There we go. Oh no! The second I go to share it, it starts buffering. Look at this. It was playing in my ear. Then I go to share it. Let's try a different one. This is unbelievable. YouTube, stop. All right, stop it. If I stop sharing, does it come back on? All right, I'm going to shut down YouTube. I'm going to try again. This is just outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. I feel like this is purposeful. Sure feels purposeful to me. What other lawyers are who else is live streaming this right now? Anybody know? Phil, thanks for the super chat. Phil says, Megan, it is many live streams, not just Alex Jones related. New streams like yours are working fine. Everyone needs to turn it off and back on again. What do you mean? Turn the streams off and turn them back on? It's but even if I'm not streaming, I go over, like if I'm not sharing it to the stream, it's still not working. It's just buffering and buffering and buffering. This is bizarre. All right, let's go see if this should be trending on Twitter then, if this really is a YouTube problem. Let's check out the hashtag YouTube down and see what we have. Because it sure feels purposeful. User reports indicate YouTube is having problems since 1241. 1241, which is exactly when court came back. Isn't that something? But my live stream is working. I'm live right now, and it is working because you guys are here and you can hear me. Every live, okay, so you guys are saying all the live streams you've tried are not working. Apparently mine is one of the only ones that is working. Alta says it's back now, but I'm telling you, it's not back for me. I'm looking at YouTube. I have shut it down. I've reopened it. I've refreshed it. They are now saying the YouTube server is down. How can that be if it's working for me? Wait, are you guys here from YouTube or are you here from Facebook? Because I'm on both. No, some of you are here on YouTube. All of YouTube getting hit. Yeah, Down Detector says user reports indicate YouTube having problems since 1241. YouTube live streaming is down, which is weird because I'm live streaming. It seems to be working just fine. Yeah, this sucks. The timing of this really sucks. Phil, thanks again for the super chat. Phil says gaming stream have stopped as well. New ones are okay. Okay, so what you're basically saying is that Law and Crime and all the others that are live streaming, they need to shut down their live streams and start again. So that's interesting. If they did that, perhaps they'd be back up, but they are not, apparently not doing that. They're just sitting there. All right, let's go on over to, this is so bizarre. So, all right, I'm going to share the screen with you so you can see what I'm looking at. You say Law and Crime is working? Hold on, we'll check. All right. So now this is News has one. Let's back up and go. No, forget that. Let's just do Alex Jones. We'll do a new search. Law and Crime. Let's try that again. They're back.
Did you submit it as an exhibit?
All right,
We
great.
did not submit it as an exhibit, Your Honor.
All right, I'm just going to be quiet now and get back to work.
What we did was provide the URL by email to Attorney Ferraro with a copy, of course, to Attorney Pattis.
So has Attorney Pattis seen it?
Rubia, if
Right.
court ceased for the day, then why are they there and what is going on? Thank you for the super chat, Rubia. It's buffering again, John. I am on Law and Crime and it's buffering again. Serious problems going on. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah. Okay, Hugh says this is just a loop. Attorney arguments only. Yeah, but sometimes those are interesting, Rubia. I like to watch, okay, now Law and Crime have they cut it off? It appears that they have cut off the stream 2 seconds ago. So that is interesting. I did not know they were gonna do this today, or I would not have, fired up this stream. Rubia, is a trial attorney, and you watched it live. Yeah, I was trying to watch it live, but then it just, it cut out on me. It started buffering and stuff. And looks like YouTube is having just a ton of difficulty. So what the heck are we gonna do today? I need to get back to work. What are we gonna talk about? Should I send Gadfly? I'll send him a link if he wants to come and talk to us about stuff. You know what? I know what we're gonna do. Of course, now I have to change the entire stream. I have to change because it's not actually Alex Jones. Can I change the title of the stream in the middle of the stream? Is that possible? Hold on, let me try. I'm gonna rename it Psych. Alex Jones trial not on. Let's make fun of Boston Children's Hospital instead. Okay, hold on. All right. The trial went down on YouTube. That sounds dirty. So, let's watch this incredibly disturbing Boston Children's Hospital Zoom meeting about transing the kids. Hold on, I'm changing the description, you guys. About transing all the kids. All right, save changes. Oh, man. What? Facebook's not letting me do it. I'll try to change it on YouTube, on the YouTubes, via the internets. And then we'll get to it. Because I've got this video of a leaked Zoom call that Exelansic put up on Rumble that is really, really good. It is crazy. You will not believe how crazy it really is. And then we should just watch it, and you guys should comment away on it because it is crazy. And while you're doing that, I will get some work done, maybe, or maybe I'll have stuff to say. I don't know. Let's see if it works. Does my did my changes make? Yes. The changes made on YouTube, but it didn't make on Facebook, but that's fine. I don't care. All right. Let's go over to Boston Children's Hospital on Rumble. These people are the people chopping up kids, and they think that this is totally fine. Let's watch them.
Essentially someone's internal sense of who they are. So that means that the only person
These
who
are
really
doctors,
knows what
people.
their gender identity is that
Doctors.
individual themselves. And so that's something that's important to know because we really need to ask others what their gender identity is to have a good sense. And with any terms, we also should ask them what terms they like to apply to themselves and what that means for them. So I'll often ask kids, oh, you identify as XYZ, maybe non-binary. What does that mean for you? In terms of, does everyone have a gender identity? Well, pretty much. I mean, certainly most people, as far as we know, identify as what's called cisgender. So identify as the gender that is assigned to them at birth, as either male or female. But we know that there's a variety of different gender identities. And
the volume is boosted as high as it can go.
Sometimes at different points in their life. And so there's identities that kind of fall under our big umbrella of transgender. And essentially that's an umbrella term used to describe people who identify differently than they were assigned at birth. As with any of these terms, it can be controversial whether or not that person wants to apply that to themselves. Very personal.
Get in here, John.
And so we usually use the terms that someone would refer to themselves as. So that might need a definition of a word, but we always use the terms that they prefer to use for themselves. And we know that when you are under that transgender umbrella or that gender diverse umbrella, you can identify as binary, so as either fully male or fully female, or as non-binary or agender, which is kind of neither male or female, maybe outside of the gender binary altogether. And then within that, we also have things like gender fluid, meaning that you can feel differently depending on the day. And so
Depending on the day.
variety.
Did you hear that?
Wonderful.
You can feel differently depending on the day. How the hell is anybody supposed to know, though? Like, what? You can feel differently depending on the day. And yes, can we please take a look at their backgrounds? Look at these people. What are they doing?
Experiences that we see in our population, and it's so important to ask that
I'm too
person what
loud.
their
I'm gonna turn my mic down.
experience is, and that person's experience is valid, and they're the only one that can really put a voice to that. So that's something we always like to emphasize when we're working with our gender diverse folks.
Thank you. Could you also say a little bit about how young or how old people are when they start to question their gender identity, and if that's different for different people?
As with many things, it is different for different people. I mean, everyone has a unique journey. Here in the GEMS program, we see kids all the way down to age 3. I mean, some kids, parents will tell me they just kind of like they were born and they knew who they were.
3 years old, dude.
It's very common for us
3-year-olds,
to see young
dude.
children who know very early.
3-year-olds.
However, it's actually more common for us to see
groomers.
kids who know at or around the time of puberty. So essentially, a lot of kids will tell me, I felt different. I knew something might have been different about me, but I didn't quite understand or have words to put to that until I started going through puberty and started feeling, maybe distressed about that process for myself. Some people, however, don't know at puberty.
Are there kids on Earth who are not distressed by puberty? I just got to put that out there. Is there anyone on Earth who wasn't distressed by puberty? Give me a break.
And might know a little bit later. So essentially, it's an individual journey, and it's very common for people to know throughout the developmental cycle, and even
Whoa. We have someone in the chat. I have to. This can't be real. You're not being serious, are you, Linux? Cis and trans are actually both biological terms relating to how your cells carry stuff around your body. Oh, you mean like they mean something totally different than what they're being used for? Like, I hope you're not being serious that these are biological terms that actually have anything to do with what they say they have to do with. You must be talking about like scientific terms about that mean something else. Why is my stream the only one that's unaffected? I don't know. I got lucky, apparently. Get on in here, everybody who's locked out of other streams. But apparently it's working. I just happened to hit it at the right time. Just the right time. Okay, let's turn this back on. Let's turn this shit show back on.
Some people know later in life are able to affirm that later in life. Maybe they weren't ready to earlier. So it's very common at all stages of the lifespan, but certainly in childhood and adolescence, we see a lot of gender identity concerns and just exploration.
Dr. Carswell, could you talk a little bit about the different types of gender affirming medical interventions and the ages that people are able to access the different types of interventions?
Sure. So, I always say the most important gender affirming intervention is support of a family, support of community, which is really no medical intervention at all, but something that's really, really important and lots of evidence to support that. In terms of medications that we can use basically hormones that actually that halt the progression of puberty. Many people know them as hormone blockers. We know them as GnRH agonists, a different word, same medicine. And that we usually start when a child is into puberty. So that can be very, very, very variable as we.
Hi, is this John? I don't even know.
Hi. I identify as Megan Fox, so please refer to me by my proper gender. Thank you.
Hello, Megan. How are you?
Hi, Megan. I'm great. Thank you for using my proper noun, which is not a pronoun, but I identify as that, so it's okay.
So an interesting thing happened to me today, John. I was on the YouTubes trying to pull up the Alex Jones trial. And as soon as I did, I think it's my fault. As soon as I went to stream it, they all went down across YouTube.
Yeah.
Everything is not working. Nothing's working.
I was just reading that there is an actual YouTube live streaming issue going on. So it's beyond, I think, just the Alex Jones trial.
It happened at exactly the same time that the trial came back from a break,
Oh.
which I think is kind of suspect, to tell you the truth. Like,
What
and
are the globalists hiding, chat?
and after, what are the globalist vampires, pedophiles hiding? I think I broke YouTube. I think I did. And then, like, everyone else's stream went down except mine. So mine's like one of the only live streams working right now.
Wow.
Which is
I'm
great. So
honored.
I had to quickly do something, put something up here for people to watch because I didn't have a plan. So I was thinking that we would watch this Boston Children's Hospital leaked Zoom video that I have not been able to get to. That's like an hour long with these Frankenstein doctors talking about what they do to little children as young as 3 years old.
I woke up with a headache this morning, and I've got a pretty bad one right now. And you're forcing me to watch this. This is.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry, but we're just about to hear about all the hormone blocking treatments that little children can be subjected to at the Boston Children's Hospital. And remember, people, these are the same people that say this is not being done to children. But on their internal Zoom meetings, this is what they are saying. This is not a public Zoom, by the way. This is an internal meeting that somebody leaked to the press. And I got it from Exalancic's channel on Rumble. Now, Exalancic has been kicked off YouTube, so maybe I'm next if I'm playing.
I got suspended from Twitter for a week a couple days ago. Yeah.
For what?
So I broke this story about there's a board gaming channel that's like a big influencer, and one of their contributors got arrested for child pornography. And yeah, not only that, so I researched it.
Why are they
Megan.
always like this? Why are
I
they
researched
always like
it. They're always like this. He was a very proud member of the LGBTQ community, of course. And so they gave him golf claps, gave him a platform, tried to raise his profile in the industry. And so I looked into it, and the guy's actually got a GoFundMe, and he was posting a GoFundMe because somebody extorted him for $1,500, and he couldn't pay his rent. And so he put this GoFundMe up saying, I was taught, it's like somebody told me I was going to go to jail and all that if I didn't pay $1,500. And so what he was doing, if you put two and two together, is he's trying to seek out child porn images on the internet. Somebody then blackmailed him for it because he, was not, careful about it. And then he put up a GoFundMe to try to get money back for his being extorted for trying to search for child porn images. And then he got hit by the FBI.
Oh my God.
And now he's in jail. Thank God. That's a happy ending.
The chat is asking, who is John? Who is John? John Delarose is a comics creator and author of all kinds of science fiction books. He is the leading leading Hispanic voice in science fiction. If you do not know who John Delarose is, you need to go and subscribe to his channel right now. And the chat is also asking me.
So I was tweeting about it. And of course so of course the blue check marks in the comic and board game industry, started saying this guy's a bigot, and then mass reported my tweets because I was exposing a pedophile. So.
Oh my God. Well, it's always that way. The globalist pedophiles, they're in charge of everything. All right, listen. So the chat is also asking, did I watch Rekieta last night? Okay. I actually woke up to Rekieta this morning, and this is what I woke up to. Is Farron and Nick so wasted?
Oh no!
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, right. So wasted.
I'm going gray, so I know all about hair. People accuse me of dyeing my hair all the time.
Are you talking about English or Irish?
I'm so sorry that I wasn't there to hold her hair back because I know how this ended for her.
Is she puking live on the air?
She did not actually puke, but I guarantee you that she puked afterwards because she was so lit. so lit. Both of these two.
Oh boy.
Got so drunk. It was by the end. Like, this is when I woke up to it this morning, and I think that Farron was talking about her cup size. I don't remember. But
was Nick talking about his cup size though?
Women that are fucking psycho. That are like, fuck this bitch. She's all about.
I know. But that's not important.
By the way, did you not see my stream tonight where I was like, by the way, I'm all about myself. I actually did my makeup on stream to show that I don't cake my makeup on.
These two are basically just slurring at each other, and it was hilarious. It was pretty funny. So if you have not
it's super entertaining.
I don't know if they're gonna kill this stream at some point or what. So if you haven't seen it yet, you might wanna you might wanna go do that. But let's go back to what we're not gonna continue to do that. But I could not believe that I woke up to them still going. It was a 7-hour stream, John.
That's a Nick stream for you. Yeah.
7 hours. It was insane. All right, let's get back
I did
to
a
these.
5-hour stream yesterday, so I'm not one to
Let's
talk.
get back to these creep shows.
So anywhere from really as young as even 9 years old, but really up to 13, 14 sometimes. So those are a really powerful tool in our toolbox. And we can also use estrogen and testosterone. And those are the ones that everybody thinks about. Those
I'm using Advil to deal with this. Is my Advil bottle.
More kind of feminine traits or masculine traits. And those can be started also at variable ages. The lower limit that we usually abide by, well, the recommendations for most people is still 16 by international and national guidelines, with consideration down to age 14. So we do typically follow the guidelines. 14, 15, 16 are really common ages for those to start. And I should also say that the blockers or the GnRH agonists are reversible, and some of the effects of the hormones are reversible, but many are not. So
they're such liars. Puberty blockers are not reversible. When you stop your puberty from happening, you stop growing. That growth
it wrecks
does
you
not continue.
For the rest of your life. I mean, you're just screwed. It's like, and it's not, and that has nothing to do with the gender of one way or another. I mean, it just messes up your body. And so you are like living crippled for the rest of your life because I guess at 9 years old, some adult told you because you're a tomboy that as a girl that you really are supposed to be a man at this point. It's absolutely absurd.
John Yarber, thanks for the super chat, says they didn't merge till 2 a.m. You're talking about Ricada and Farron's stream last night. But yeah, the puberty blockers they don't, it's not just a pause that like then will resume when you stop taking them. That is not what happens. Any growth that you were going to have during that period is stopped completely. And these doctors actually have the nerve to say, oh, well, you're going to be, you'll just be a little shorter, maybe. No, short.
Oof.
Well, that's a big deal.
Gosh,
as
that's
a man, John, how important is height to you?
Oh, I'm a disaster. I'm 5'9", and people like Megan just eviscerate me for it because I'm so short. Yeah.
No, my husband's 5'9". What are you talking about? I'm short, so 5'9" to me is tall. Because I'm like 5'3", so 5'9". Oh yeah, 5'9" is like towering. I'm fine with that. Like that's no problem.
I don't know. When I say I'm 5'9" on 4chan though, they tell me I might as well like Minecraft myself because I'll never be a real man.
5'9" is an average height for a man. That's average. It's 6 feet is above average. Yeah. Yeah.
6 feet's the goal, says 4chan.
6 feet is the goal, but I mean it's above average. An average.
I saw in Drudge the other day. There's like leg lengtheners now. Like you can.
Oh, geez, that sounds very painful.
Doesn't it?
No. Yeah, I mean, look, there's somebody out there for everybody. But I mean, why would you stunt your growth if you didn't have to? You know, like
right.
It's just ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous.
It screws up all your internals too. I mean, there's more to it than just your height.
Oh God, and height is important. So don't let anybody tell you that. Oh well, maybe you'll just be shorter. No big deal. Like that is a big deal.
So they are permanent.
Dr. Grimstad, can you talk a little bit about the difference between sexual orientation and gender identity, and also throw in a little bit about menstrual suppression, because I think it's going to follow well on because
this is brain damage.
Sure. So let's start with menstrual suppression, because I agree. I think it flows well. So some people.
Wait. Hold on.
Did you just say menstrual suppression for some people it flows well?
Flows well. Yes.
Was that on purpose?
It had to have been. I mean, she's got it, right?
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And straight after the start of puberty, and oftentimes for folks who identify as trans or gender diverse who have uteruses, that can be a significant source of dysphoria or distress. Can
I just say that having a period at the age of 13, 14, whatever, is a significant source of distress for every girl? This is what is bothering me about this so much, is that every single girl, Every single girl who goes through puberty and gets their period is not happy about that. I mean, they might be happy that it's like, oh, well, I'm becoming a woman now, so that's exciting. But no one is happy about the cramping and the bleeding and all of that. No one. So
No.
it is a significant source of stress, but that's totally normal. And you should not be told, oh, well, we can stop that. We'll just inject you with the shit and we'll stop that from happening. Like, what?
It's amazing to me how they rattle off all these words together, though. They say them in the mirror daily. You know, the trans cisgender opportunity of the menstrual cycle of the traumatized gendered of the dysphoria. It's like, holy crap! How do you talk like that for real? You know.
I don't know. Guys, if you're wondering about the Alex Jones trial, they canceled it for the day. It's no more. That's why they ended all the streams. Apparently they've canceled it, and also it coincided weirdly with YouTube going down. Whatever.
Actually, things we use in gynecology for many different reasons. Periods, heavy periods, but we can also use them for folks who have difficulty or discomfort with their periods in relation to gender. Most of those medications are very safe, have low
Is the dude on the bottom identify as a girl?
No, none of these people identify as anything other than their sex, by the way. They're all 4 females and 1 male. Notice
it is a dude.
None of them have had any of these surgeries. None of them have subjected themselves to this shit and the hormones. That guy on the bottom, by the way, he's the doctor. He's the surgeon. He's the sicko who cuts breasts off of children. Wait till you hear him start talking. He's just, ugh. He's in it for the money, obviously.
Hormones, they don't have permanent long-term effects. They're safe for future fertility and future reproduction.
Lies! They are not safe for future fertility. That's absolute lies. Lies, lies, lies. Almost all of these kids are infertile after they get through with them with the hormones. And the hormones are not reversible. If a female's voice deepens, it never comes back. It never goes higher again. None of this, what they're saying, is real or true. This is lies. Period.
Shifting gears for a second, talking a little bit about sexual orientation. So if we remember, gender identity is kind of our own internal sense of self. Sexual orientation has to do with how we relate or are attracted to other folks. It is, again, a self-identified aspect. So
why is that lady nodding? Like this is profound.
Adolescents and teens, they may not yet have the words for what their orientation is, which is something like gay or straight or queer. They might use terms such as, I really like girls, or I like people of all genders, or I'm just not sure.
That's what a 9-year-old says. I like people of all genders.
Different things like emotional attraction and physical attraction, which is all very common.
Emotional attraction? You know, this really pisses me off. Little girls and little boys like the same sex when they're little because they want friends and stuff. Like, they like them. They are emotionally attracted to them. Of course, that makes total sense. My little boy is completely into his little boy friends, like they play football together, and he's desperate for little friends all the time, wants to be around his little friends. He's never asking me to be around the girls. That's not because he doesn't like girls. It's just because they relate to one another. The same sex relates to one another, and putting this kind of sexual thing onto normal friendships for kids is gross. It's gross.
It's insane. Absolute insanity.
The human experience.
It's all these women who don't have kids. I guarantee you none of them have kids.
Orientation as they get older and as they start to interact with more humans. In fact, 20 to 25% of people will change their sexual orientation from adolescence to early adulthood and from early to late adulthood.
Wait, what?
And we're not going to talk much
Let's stop this. Like, okay, but before it became cool to be gay in high school and all that, which now it's just like a status symbol. Like, all these kids go out there and they go, "Oh, I'm a queer non-binary," and they say it because it's the cool thing, and then everybody will clap for them. That's what it's about. It's a peer pressures kind of thing. But before it was that, like, I mean, if you just like go study natural society and whatever forever, it's like 3 to 5% of the population. So what do you mean that 25% of the population is changing their identities and whatever?
Yeah, because
where'd you get that from?
It's because That is what the studies are showing now, and it's because of all of this indoctrination in school. When you
It's
tell
social
children,
conditioning. Yeah,
when you
and that
tell
proves it's
children
social conditioning.
when you tell
Right.
white children in particular that you're bad because of your skin color and you will always be at the bottom of this hierarchy because you're a bad cis white person, they will absolutely always get themselves on the victim identity list
Yep.
somehow so that they can climb up the hierarchy. So now all the white kids are identifying as non-binary or trans or something else so they can be on the rainbow of the special people who are totally protected from all bullying and any criticism and the racism that they are faced with every day, being
Were
taught
you on
critical race theory.
Were you on the stream with me when Vito, the YouTuber, was talking about how he wished he was trans growing up?
No, that's funny.
Oh, it was amazing. He's just like, man, I wish I was trans. I mean, you get a, especially in California here. Like, I mean, you got like a guaranteed job. Like, they can't ever fire you. You don't ever have to do anything. People just throw money and attention at you. It's just like,
True.
it's great. So.
A series of bats says, I am trans, but chose not to take hormones because of the complications. It's not worth it. Good for you. Good for you, a series of bats. Don't take cross-sex hormones. They are bad for you. Express yourself however you want. Dress however you want. Live however you want. But do not medically abuse your body. I'm so proud of you for not doing that because it's bad for you. And more and children need to understand this. And none of these kids can consent. None of
No.
them. So it's all, this is a crime against humanity that we are witnessing. Let's keep watching these absolute disgraces of human beings.
More about sexual orientation today, but I do want to point out that people of any gender identity can have any sexual orientation and vice versa. Dr. Ganor, we know that not all gender diverse people want surgery, and those who want surgery don't always want the same types of surgery, but can you just tell us a little bit about the most common types of gender affirming surgery?
Yes, absolutely.
Here we go.
I think, before we talk about the type of surgery, it's important to understand that, although we are
Mutilation.
under the umbrella of Boston Children's Hospital, the majority of the surgeries are not performed on, definitely not pediatric hospital, but not even teenagers. There's very limited availability of surgeries for teenagers, and that is mostly for the trans-masculine individuals who identify for years as male and interested in having top surgery or masculinizing chest reconstruction.
So just so you know what he just said, he's trying to make it sound like we don't do surgeries on kids. And then at the end there, all the surgeries we do on minors are just for the trans masculines, for the we just lop off breasts of women. That's we're lopping off the breasts of girls. But we don't really do any other surgeries on the other surgeries are for adults. But we are lopping off the breasts of children, by the way. So don't let him fool you by saying, "Oh, all the surgeries are done on adults." Well, except for the trans masculines, and then
they're just left with scars for the rest of their lives. It's awful.
And they'll never experience the absolute joy and pleasure of breastfeeding your own children. I mean, my God, I can't think of anything worse. Breastfeeding is one of the most wonderful ways to bond with your baby. The idea that they are taking that away from these girls before they can even decide, they can even have a beer legally. Like, you can't even have a glass of wine, but we can chop your breasts off. Holy shit, they can't even vote.
The majority of the other surgeries, genital surgeries, including orchiectomy and vaginoplasty, I'm going to talk about that in a second, and definitely
gosh, this stuff makes me sick.
Are not offered until the patient achieves age of majority, and they can sign consent from themselves. But let's go a step back to answer your question, Liz. So when we talk about the trans-masculine group, or those are that were born as female and identifying as masculine or non-binary, by far the most common surgery is top surgery or masculinizing chest surgery. The reason for that is because many people who identify as male don't like having such a feminine structure on their body, and they would like to get rid of it. So top surgery, which is somewhat similar to mastectomy, bilateral mastectomy, with repositioning the nipples and creating more masculine appearance to the chest.
Some of them don't even get nipples.
If you talk about genital surgery for trans-masculine individuals, there's two options. One is called metodioplasty, and the other one is called phalloplasty. In both of these, we try to reconstruct a male anatomy. In the first option, the methodoplasty, we did not bring over new tissue from other places. And actually what we successful with achieving is the ability to urinate in standing position and having somewhat small penis. In the phalloplasty option, we also bring tissue from other locations. Typically, surgeons use the word flap for that. It can be local or a free flap from other locations. And then we are able to create a neophallus that is somewhat looks very similar to a cisgender male penis. That is.
Okay, wait a minute. Looks very similar to somewhat of a regular male, right? No, it doesn't. It is a literal flap of like rolled skin. It is so gross. It is just disgusting, and it doesn't work. It does not work. It doesn't get hard. You cannot have sex with it. You have to have a tube implanted that's like a, what do they call those? A pump or something? John Yarber, thank you for the super chat. He says, Law Nerd Clips just posted a great clip from Rackets this morning. Epic. These doctors are disgusting. Yes, they are. They are disgusting. But phalloplasty, by the way, it does not. It does not work. Digger, what YouTube videos are you talking about? Which ones did YouTube take down? And I have heard story after story of people who have gone through this phalloplasty thing, and they've gone through multiple surgeries, all these complications, and they are left in pain with numbness. They can't feel anything. They don't have sexual pleasure. They don't have sensation. It is absolutely disgusting. This is so crazy, and most of these kids would have just grown up to be gay or lesbian. Like, really, that's what they're doing, is butchering gay and lesbian kids, is what it seems like.
Not even that. I mean, some of them are just tomboys, or just like, I mean, effeminate men. I mean, those happen too. And now every one of them is told, there's something wrong with that. You can't just as a girl, like your transformer toys. You must really have gender dysphoria.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really absolutely insane. It just makes me so sick to think about this.
It's
child abuse.
The biggest influx of trans kids now are straight females.
Of course.
And the reason why the straight and white, they're white, straight white females. And the reason why, like I told you, is because of the soaking in the critical race theory. They get very negative opinions of themselves. They know that they're very low on the hierarchy. And they're actually attracted to men, because if you look at the social media that these girls are into, they're into gay porn for some reason. And then they
for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I will never understand that as a straight person.
Well, it's conditioning.
It's gross. I've never
all of it's conditioning. I was at a party about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, and I noticed there was this 19, 20-year-old kid. He was looking really down in the dumps. And I'm a very empathetic person, believe it or not. And so I'm just like, I go up to the guy and I'm like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And he was telling me about how his girlfriend broke up with him to find herself. She's just not feeling happy, doesn't know who she is, and he's lamenting. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, what? There's a party. Why don't you meet some people, have some fun? And he's like, you don't understand. He's like, you're a lot older than me. He's like, the girls these days, like, it's different. You can't talk to them like normal. They don't. Half of them literally will tell you they don't know what gender they are. It's insanity, and you can't date somebody who's doing that. I mean, it's crazy. You're just like, he said it's such a terrible dating environment right now. You're just like, it's just pure psychopathy.
I didn't think it could get any worse. I mean, the dating pool already seemed like such hookup culture, and hookup culture is just awful. And now it's even worse. You don't even know who you're hooking up with. You don't know if they're a male or a female.
On top of it, though, he said the other part is, all of these girls go into doctors and all that, and it's not just the gender stuff, but they're all told they have depression and anxiety, so they get doped up on all these pills too. So and that's happening at younger and younger ages. It's getting crazy.
There's a part in this video where one of them says, yes, there are comorbidities with a bunch of these people, but we find that if you treat the gender dysphoria, the other things generally get better. It is ridiculous.
Right. They're putting them on pills for life because they get a nice payday out of it. That's the whole point.
Sure. I mean, look, Matt Walsh just got internal video from Vanderbilt Hospital of them
Oh, I
saying
saw it.
these
Ugh.
people are worth $100,000 each to our hospital. There are gender clinics running their entire hospital on just phalloplasty surgeries alone because of the money that comes in. They have them on tape saying this. That this is a money making. This is all this is about.
And our
These
tax
doctors
dollars are paying for it.
These doctors do not care about your children. They do not care about their health. They care about the dollar signs that they see. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. John Yarber says, sends a super chat. Thank you, AJ Stream. Still down. Yep, we know. Still down. All right, moving on. More Franken medicine. Here we come.
For the trans masculine group or those who were born as females and transitioning into males. For the trans feminine group, those who were born as males, we have a few options. Again, top surgery is mostly having breast augmentation with fat grafting or silicone implants or saline implants. There are multiple different techniques for that. But for bottom surgery, it's called penile inversion vaginoplasty. That is actually creating a neovagina with the external genitalia, the female genitalia of a woman. Along with this procedure, we also perform, along with our urology team, orchiectomy, which is removal of the testis. So it is important to remember that this
Ball
procedure
removal.
is a sterilization procedure.
A
But I want to
sterilization
repeat,
procedure.
This is surgery that are only done on adults who can sign consent for themselves. There are a few more surgeries.
So he claims. So he claims. I don't believe him. However, I do not believe that they're not doing orchiectomies on kids. I know they're doing it on kids. With undercover, people have gone undercover, called these clinics, and asked what was the age for an orchiectomy, and the doctors at the clinic say 12 years old. So yeah, I don't believe him. Do not believe people who say they're not doing this to kids.
Dr. Grimstad is performing a lot of hysterectomies for transmasculine individuals who are interested of removing the uterus and ovaries. There can be
Do you guys know what happens when you remove a uterus and ovaries? Do you know what happens to a woman? You put her into immediate and sudden menopause. It is so sick what they're doing to
Gosh.
kids. And menopause is no easy thing. You're meant to go through menopause in your late 50s and 60s. Like, you're not supposed to live your entire life with no correct hormones. Yeah,
Right.
no sex drive. It's absolutely horrible.
Facial harmonization, either masculinization or feminization surgeries that come definitely later in life after patients or individuals achieve full maturity of the face. But those are a little bit more advanced and they're not that common in our institution.
Thank you. I think the next question that I want to get to isn't directly from one of the questions, but it sort of reflects a question that we've gotten from a lot of different people. And it has to do with how you support gender diverse youth who are not yet in puberty, in their schools, in their camps, and in their homes. Carrie, can you talk a little bit about resources for social transition and what social transition and support could look like for kids at different ages?
Sure. So social transition is actually a huge intervention in and of itself because it allows someone to truly affirm who they are and to be affirmed in their identity. And so it's definitely an important part of a lot of people's journey, and it can look different depending on the developmental stage and kind of the needs of that individual. In general, what we recommend at any age is as much as possible parental support, because the research we have is so illuminating in the importance of family and of family support around protection for suicide risk, for depression, for anxiety, for substance use, and all of that. So we're very concerned about making sure families feel like that they can come alongside, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a medical intervention. That can just mean trying to understand, trying to meet your child where they're at, using their affirmed name and their
But if you don't, we'll call CPS on you.
and so that's really important at any stage. But when you start talking about social transition outside of the home, or certainly school is a huge area where kids choose to transition. A lot of times, I recommend meeting with the school to preemptively to kind of make sure that there's supports in place, specifically around things like making sure that the name is.
Hey, guess what?
the affirmed name
I
is
support meeting with the school preemptively too, and I tell them, if you pull this shit on my kid, I'm going to put you in court for the next 20 years. We will
I
be
loved your
rolling
letter.
around. We will be rolling around in court for the next 20 years. I will take your house. I will take your car. I will take everything I can possibly take from you if you try to take my kid from me. Are we clear? Are we clear? Jesus, I cannot take these people. I cannot take it. And if you're wondering why your kids are being subjected to this shit at school, it's because of this kind of crap.
And if you want to preemptively do that, Megan Fox has a great article on pjmedia.com, Megan, that you can you can kind of copy and pasta that template to alert the school that you're not going to be a pushover parent. I don't have that link handy. But
I do.
That's
I'll
a good way to
drop
shill
it.
for you.
I'll drop it. I'll drop it. Clickety click, folks. Clickety click. You know, you don't
That's
have to. Super chats are great, and I love super chats. But I also, you don't need to send me a dime. You can just click on my articles, and that goes straight to my paycheck as well. Click on clickety click. Click on the article. Save it for later. Use the template that I have provided for you, and also, you know, because I do like to laugh, and we all like to laugh. I had Nick Rekieta rewrite my letter for me.
Oh, really?
Did you not hear this yet?
No, I'm excited.
Oh my God. Hold on. We're going to pause from what we're doing, and we're going to listen to Nick Rekieta read my letter that my
Welcome
attorney.
to the ADD stream. We need some Ritalin prescribed to us by those doctors. Yes.
Yes. You have to hear this. This is great. Hello. Play.
Sure.
Is that I want you to rewrite this letter the way you talk to YouTube when you write them. We could have two versions. We could have my letter, which we could actually send, and then you could have the one that Nick would do with all the cursey words that I'll write out and like I'll send to you. I'll put out on Twitter, and you guys can like, I don't know, just maybe you'll send it to your administrator. You could, but I mean, I wouldn't suggest calling them a cunt, because I know that will be in there.
I wouldn't call them a cunt.
All right, well, let's hear it. What would you?
Okay, so this letter is to inform you cucks. In brackets, it would say
Cucks.
that student name is represented by me, Rekieta Law, in all legal matters and also personal matters, because fuck you. In the event that any member of the Communist Police Force, the Sheriff's Department, the FBI, the Child's Welfare Agent, or any other agent of the bootlicking state, to be defined as those with arrest and or seizure powers, or any asshole with a badge, which includes any representative from the Department of Human Services, Social Services, Child Protective Services, Dickhole Services, Health Department, or otherwise empowered government official, should seek to meet with, speak to, fondle, or obtain information from my client. There's no please. Notify me fucking immediately. And if you don't, I will hollow your ass out like a porn star on Thursday. My client has been instructed of her Fifth Amendment right and will invoke it until I can arrive. And since my client is a minor and may not be fully cognizant of her rights in a given moment, is invoking it by my authority right now and at all times. It is my expectation that your gay school district will observe my client's constitutional rights because you're a fucking state actor, you fucking fairies. As a U.S. citizen and a minor who's entitled to proper representation, which is me, not you. You people are scum. If questioned by any fucking Fed. That's what it would say.
Wow.
I love him so much.
Gosh, he makes me look centrist.
I know, right? That's going down in history as the greatest impromptu letter writing of all time. Oh, it's so good. All right, moving on.
Making sure that pronouns are used. What are we going to do?
I have to go back to this after Nick. It's like you gave me a fine wine, and now I have to like deal with some cheap plastic bottle booze.
Gene, it is on my channel as a clip.
outness that
It's
someone
there.
wants to achieve.
I'll
at
drop the
school?
link in
Are
the
they someone who would
chat.
rather just start the school year as their affirmed gender and then really not talk about the fact that they transition? Or is this a child who wants to be more open and wants to discuss that? So I think talking with the school, we do have resources such as safe schools to work with schools if you ever feel like a school is not kind
What?
of safe another
Safe schools? We need to look that up. I'm making a note of that right now. We have an organization called Safe Schools to make sure that that schools are following our totalitarian rules. Is that what I just heard? What's safe schools? Let's find
Private
out.
schools or safe schools. Away from this.
Homeschool. That's
I
safe
have
school.
I have a palate cleanser for this real quick. Just a real quick one, just because.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here it is. This is breaking news, breaking tennis news. This is the Laver Cup in United Kingdom right now, and
God, that's loud. What is happening? Why is someone on fire?
this is somebody who's a climate change protester accidentally set themselves on fire when they went out to the court to try to protest climate change.
Good.
Look at this. They're literally, they set themselves on fire. It's so amazing. Let's go back again. Here it is. Oops. Ah! Oh, it's so. Thank you, protester. Yes.
That is hilarious. Oh my God. I'm going to have to look into this safe schools thing, though, because it sounds like a bunch of communist crap to me.
It always is.
All right.
great organization that works with schools, but if the school feels like they don't have the resources or they can't kind of support you in your child's social transition journey, that is certainly, there's some resources for that. And then there's other areas of social transition like sports and maybe less immediate family, more aunts, uncles, grandparents, things like that. And we recommend taking it at the child's pace and really engaging them in a discussion about what feels most comfortable.
Yeah, because the children know what they want. It's all about the children and how they know everything, even though most of them still believe in the tooth fairy and Santa Claus. But let's ask them what they want for their lives, because they're the experts.
But we find overall that social transition really helps to alleviate distress and is generally a good kind of step in terms of transitioning and into your affirmed gender, and really helps children feel kind of more supported. So we do recommend it, and certainly if there's anything that comes up, reaching out to a program like GEMS or a therapist or advocacy networks like PSYCH or other things in your community are highly recommended as you kind of navigate the eccentricities of your child's transition.
And I should mention that at the end of this,
Tam asks why they all have that uptick in their voice. I don't know.
This is a very social justice warrior tone of voice, and we use it because it's very condescending. And when we're talking to you, it's like, well, actually, and when we're talking to you, telling you what you need to think, because we are all university trained, and we went to universities, and we studied women's studies and gender studies, and we know what's best for you. If you hear someone coming at you with that tone of voice, like, run, run.
You do that too well. Wow.
The vocal fry, you have to get the vocal fry and the uptick together, and it is a little difficult. It takes some training, but I am a vocally trained singer. I have been trained in opera singing. I have pretty good control over my vocal cords, so I can imitate them with very good. I really have it quite down, and it's kind of like a mishmash of Valley Girl, but also with the vocal fry.
Oh, you got to get that little. Okay.
Yeah, that's important. You know what the truth is, John.
That's the real condescending bit. Okay.
If you talk like this, it is actually, it's damaging your vocal cords, and I don't like to do it very often, because it actually damages your vocal cords over time. And yes, it's called condescension. That's what we should call it. And that is, when someone is talking to you like that, you have to know, for one, it's a put on. It is not their actual voice. That is not what the human voice sounds like. That is a put on. It is a socially conditioned way of speaking, and it sends a signal to everyone else that you are part of the group. It's another part. It's a way of becoming part of that group. And I personally feel that mostly women do this because I don't know if they were trying to lower their voices because they felt like higher pitched voices are not taken seriously. And so they're trying to go down a register and then it ends up getting like this, which is really awful. But there's been an entire, I listened to like this entire NPR thing about vocal fry and how much people hate it. And yet they continue to talk like this.
Yeah. Oh, it's just obnoxious every time I
It's
hear it.
totally obnoxious, and everyone know. And but when you hear this, you should know who they vote for. It's very, very obvious.
Right.
Dr. McGregor is talking about, as well as parent and youth support resources. Dr. Grimstad, one of the questions that we get asked a lot in various forums is about gender affirmation and fertility. And I know that you have a lot of information about that. Could you talk to us a little bit about the options?
Soy voice.
Yeah. So it depends on kind of what someone's gender embodiment goals are and what therapies or surgeries they desire.
This girl's got it the worst, that voice
Goes on
thing.
puberty blocking medication
Yeah, she
around
does.
the earliest time of their pubertal development. It can be
So hers is high pitched in their pubertal development, but she's doing somehow she's doing the vocal fry up there. I'm not sure I can do that. I don't know how she's doing that. No, like I have to go down low to get the fry to work. I've got to be like down here to get that to work. She's doing it up here. And oh, there we go. She's doing it up here. And it's like
There it
really
is.
annoying.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's awful.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so grating. It's so grating.
more difficult to
More difficult? It's more difficult? Like, oh, I want to choke her.
later on if they progress
In Minecraft.
into hormones. That's probably the only time when, for majority of people, we might be thinking about how hormone therapy impacts.
Actually, John, I was thinking more along the lines of choking her during an MMA class with
Oh, okay.
maybe a rear naked choke. Possibly like a jujitsu choke is what I'm talking about. You know, I
Okay.
think she should take a kickboxing class with me or an MMA class and we could work on our choking techniques together. What do you think?
That seems reasonable and definitely not something against YouTube's terms of service.
Even then, we're learning more and more about how we can access and utilize those eggs and sperm, even with early onset utilization of hormone therapy. That being said, beyond that, let's say someone has ovaries and they want to go on to testosterone. They can choose to freeze their eggs in advance if they desire to, but most people don't desire to at that point in time.
Freeze their eggs in advance.
their
That's how they're
eggs.
going to deal with it. Yeah.
Freeze their eggs in
admitted.
advance.
Yep.
A 12-year-old. And she goes, and most people don't want to. Yeah, because when
Yeah,
you're
'cause
12,
they're 12.
and 13, you're like, no, I don't ever want kids. Kids are gross. Why do I want kids? I don't want kids. Like, nobody wants kids at 12 or 13. So, of course, they're going to say they don't want to freeze their eggs. What? Yes. Thank you for being a good parent, NF Caps. He says, wherever my daughter starts doing that tone and lilt, I make her stop. So disturbing. I tell her we are going to speak like regular, real people in this house. And that is good parenting.
Yes.
And if they don't stop, I give you full permission to take away their phone and their internet access indefinitely until it stops. Because don't let them do it. Do kids think about freezing their eggs in advance? No.
No, of course not. That's the
And
joke of this.
And it's very expensive too. So is insurance paying for that? Like who's paying for that? Freezing your eggs is like 30 grand or more.
Show that people seem to be able to come off testosterone later on in life and be able to utilize their eggs either in a pregnancy for themselves or in someone else. Choosing to
Oh
utilize
God,
their eggs
Frankenstein
before testosterone is
babies.
not an option. It allows us to disentangle the decisions about fertility from the decisions about hormone therapy. Now, that being said, with regards to fertility, I always remind my patients, the biggest thing we're fighting against is mother time. So someone who's been on testosterone and comes off it at the age of 45 is still trying to deal with 45-year-old ovaries. For many people who know what it means to try and go through fertility treatments at the age of 45 knows that's the hardest part about it, is age.
That's the hardest thing you're fighting is age and not the cross-sex hormones that you put them on.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure that makes the aging process really awful. when they're on those hormone treatments.
Not to
I mean, that's
mention,
the whole deal.
didn't they also take the uterus out? So what are they trying at 45? Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing? You had a hysterectomy.
You're
You're
already
not getting
screwed.
pregnant at 45. And you've already gone through menopause because of all the hormones and the removal of the ovaries and stuff. Like, this is just garbage. These people are selling a lie.
People who have had who have testes who want to
People.
preserve sperms.
People,
Sperm
John.
preservation's a lot
People who
easier
have
and
testes,
is
John.
typically accessible through things like
People who have testes.
People who have testes. You know, it's interesting. We have a word for those people. They're called men. But now we're talking about people who have testes. I'm surprised she didn't say women who have testes.
We do generally recommend that if that's something someone's considering, that they do in advance of estrogen therapy, because estrogen therapy does seem to diminish sperm count and quality a little bit. Definitely.
Oh, it
more
does?
so than testosterone
How
does in the
shocking.
early data.
How shocking that estrogen will kill
No
your
way.
sperm count, John. Did you know that?
No way.
You know that estrogen is going to kill your sperm count and make it so you can't have any kids and your swimmers are all screwed up? Oh my God.
Yeah, we already have jokes about that with people drinking soy milk. So there you
Right.
go.
That being said, there have been case reports of a couple of people who have successfully estrogen and been able to freeze their sperm. So again, we're learning
These people got through
so
medical school.
about how we can optimize fertility, specifically genetically related fertility for these patients.
Hard
Another
to
thing
believe.
to remember is that people who are choosing to undergo a gender-affirming hysterectomy or undergoing bottom surgery alongside a gender-affirming hysterectomy do not
Jesus.
have to take out their ovaries at the same time. Ovaries are separate from the uterus, and they can be safely maintained at the time of a gender-affirming hysterectomy.
What?
God, this is making me
What?
sick thinking about this.
What a disaster.
Yeah.
What an absolute disaster. So I don't need to repeat that. You heard the crazy. You heard what you just heard.
Again, means that people can separate the decisions that they're having about whether or not to have bottom surgery or hysterectomy from whether or not they want to use their ovaries for the purposes of genetically related offspring.
But you just heard her say that if you do come off the thing, you still maybe can't use your ovaries.
Right.
If you come off the hormones, like they're making it sound like, oh yeah, you can just get off of the hormones and the ovaries will probably work, maybe work, or maybe they won't. FFS says, Megan, you're radicalizing me with this. Good. All
People
of
have
you
entire careers based around this shit. Like how that boggles my mind that like these people get paid full-time salaries to do this shit.
I got to tell you, if I did not have 3 children to raise right now and I
Ugh.
wasn't like splitting my time between my work and taking them to a million sports, I would be joining Billboard Chris on his tour of America in front of these children's hospitals wearing a billboard and radicalizing everyone who walks by. I would be doing that right now. So if any of you, I feel the radicalization rising. If any of you have the time to join Billboard Chris, get out there and do it, because this guy is a one-man protest machine. He is out there by himself facing 300 or so counter protesters. He has the biggest balls of any man I ever met. This guy faced down Antifa yesterday. I laughed so hard watching. Have you seen this yet, John?
No.
Oh my God, we're going over there right now. Welcome to the ADD stream. This is the ADD stream, and we are
Yes.
medicated, but we're still hopping
I'm
around.
not medicated though. Oh, I am now because I took Advil. I feel better after. Like I started listening to the.
Actually, I forgot to
I
take
started
my meds.
listening to the voices, and I needed Advil, and I took it, and I feel so much better now. So thank you.
I forgot
Thank
to
you,
take my
Advil.
pill today. I need to
Yeah.
I need to do that. I forgot, but now it's probably too late and it'll keep me up all night. All right, let's see. Billboard Chris, where did I go? Where is it? He is so great. If you guys are not following Billboard Chris on Twitter, you need to get over there and follow him immediately because he is hilarious. And also,
I'd love
right,
to, but Twitter won't let me.
they won't let you follow him, or you're suspended right now. So
I'm
you can't.
suspended. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where is Billboard Chris's here it is.
I don't
Okay.
even get new followers. Megan, like 3-4 years ago, like I'd get banned from something or suspended from something, and I'd gain like hundreds of followers or whatever on other platforms. Like now it's just like it happens so often. They're like, JDA is just suspended again. Oh well, like nobody even cares. I'm like, I'm
So
a victim here, Megan.
Billboard Chris, yeah, you're a victim. Billboard Chris is the one who he wears this billboard. He goes around on
Okay.
to hospitals, and he wears this, and also universities, and he wears a big billboard that says children cannot consent to puberty blockers. And he gets stalked by these Antifa guys. They come to make him to get in his way so he can't talk to people. And I just love him so much because he's not scared of these people at all. He will just walk around. Listen to this. It's so good.
How come you're wearing a mask and a hood? Why don't you show your face?
I don't want to.
How come? Is this supposed to be intimidating or something? You're so proud of your position that you have to cover your face? Is this how you show that you're on the right side of history?
I don't give a fuck what you think, Chris.
Yeah? What you doing right now? Texting all your friends so they can come too?
Exactly, that's what I'm doing.
Am I supposed to be scared of your little intimidating posture? All in black, big tough guy,
I like how the guy's on his
sunglasses,
phone.
mask, hood. Oh, look at that. You got a whole balaclava on. You're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
Whatever you say.
And it's loud in Boston.
What's going on in Boston?
I don't know, but it's a disaster, apparently. I mean, he just rips these guys. They follow him around, and he rips them
So
constantly.
what are we waiting for now?
I'm not talking to you, Chris.
No? Okay. Tell me, why do you think it's okay to
I'm
sterilize
not talking
kids?
to you.
I'm not talking to you, Chris.
Do you think it's okay to cut off the breasts of little girls?
I'm not engaging with you.
Yeah. What are you doing then?
Yeah, then why are you
I'm
here?
standing here in Harvard Square.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, good for you.
All right, so there is an entire. I can't take the bells anymore.
Yeah,
There
that's
is
painful.
there is an entire. I think it gets better down here. There is an entire. So now this guy shows up. Another
Oh, good.
stalker comes up. I love this guy.
Nice mask outside.
Okay, that's what I thought. So,
Wait, you got to hear the
why do you
question
think
he
it's
asked
loving and
him.
inclusive to sterilize autistic children? Can you please tell me that?
Long pause.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, it's okay. I get that you think you're on the right side of history. So I'm going to give you a quick education here, all right, my man? Here's what's going on. Kids as young as 9, 10, 11 years old are being given a drug called Lupron.
Fuck off.
It stops their bodies going into puberty. It's never been approved for this purpose. It's being used off-label. And what it does is it stops the pituitary gland from releasing hormones called luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone. These, in turn, trigger testosterone production in boys, estrogen in girls. Without those hormones, guess what? Their sex-based physical characteristics do not develop.
Mhm.
So girls' breasts don't grow, boys' penises don't grow, girls' hips don't expand. One of the side effects that you can read it all about it on the official websites if you like.
Burden of proof
is
is
that it
on you.
causes bone
Cite your fucking
demineralization.
sources, you cunt.
They're all on my website. Go read them.
I don't give a shit about your website.
Well-
Cite some actual fucking papers.
Okay, all the academic papers are on my website. Go to the society. Go to the Society for Evidence-Based Medicine, Evidence-Based Gender Medicine, SEGM.org.
I'm sure they've got a whole
Read-
bunch of exciting ideas
all
about
the
how to
academic
stop.
information you could ever want. Read why Sweden and Finland have stopped this practice. Do you know that a girl, 15 years old in Sweden, suffered spinal fractures while she was on puberty blockers from the
Oh,
age of 12 to
jeez.
15, and that she has osteopenia and she's in chronic pain? Do you think that's cool? Are you not worried that half these kids are on the autism spectrum?
Are you a
Don't you
doctor?
think we should have an answer to that? I don't need to be a doctor to be able to read.
But actual doctors are telling
I can
you
refer you to some
wrong.
podcasts I've been on with some
Oh,
doctors.
thank God. Some actual fucking podcasts.
Yeah, with doctors.
fucking liar.
What am I lying about? Tell me. I'm fascinated to know.
You're lying about fucking everything, Chris.
Like what?
You're biased and you're a bigot. And I'm not engaging with your fucking arguments.
Just one thing.
Because I
Fuck you,
can't
Chris.
argue with you.
You're a
You don't have
bigot.
to
They always
word
do
I say.
this.
I want
I know.
you
Always
to
do
go
this.
see what the experts at these children's hospitals are saying. Have you watched
Chris
the videos
is
from
the,
Boston
by the
Children's
way,
Hospital?
Chris is the
I've
nicest
seen it.
guy. He's like Canadian. He's like the most polite guy on earth. And like these people can't even have a conversation with him because he has too many statistics. He has too many facts. And so
Yeah.
instead they just refuse to talk. Now, can we look at this guy's face for a second here? Is he wearing an anonymous mask underneath the balaclava? Do you see
Oh, that's
that?
interesting.
Do you
Great
see that?
question.
Is it like a face shield that has the mask and the goatee? Can you see it through there?
It's possible. I think I see his mouth moving though, like when he
No, you can
talks.
see his mouth moving, but then it looks like
Okay.
he also has like a mustache that's
Oh, to
outlined
like,
like a hard mustache here. Do you see
I
it?
see that. Yeah.
It's weird, right?
It's very weird.
It's weird. Anyway,
Huh.
these videos just keep getting better and better, I swear.
The fucking videos.
So what does it mean for a child to be
I don't.
transgender?
I don't engage with people who
It's
send
a
bomb threats to
dental dam.
hospitals.
Oh, I didn't send that. And I denounced
Oh
that.
yeah.
Oh, your buddies.
Yeah.
But your buddies sent it, and you didn't renounce
Did you
it.
watch the Boston Children's Hospital website? Videos? Did you watch their videos?
Which one of your buddies called in the bomb threat? Which one of your pals called in the bomb threat, Chris?
So my friend.
It was probably
Which
one of these
It
guys.
matters because you don't want to hear
Yeah.
what I say.
They always false
Cohen
flag this stuff. That's the other thing they do.
That's
to a children's
the dumbest
hospital.
thing you could ever do. But let's get back to the real thing here. Do you think it's okay to be cutting off the breasts of girls as young as 12 years old? Because that's what's happening.
How do you know that's happening?
There's a video from the Kaiser Permanente in Oakland, California, where Kellen Lackhart, the psychiatrist there, is asked a question about the youngest ages of children that they performed these surgeries on. And he admits to cutting off the breasts of a 12-year-old girl and castrating 16-year-old boys. The president of WPATH, do you know what WPATH is? No, of course you don't. It's the World Professional
Of course
Association
you
for Transgender
don't.
Health. They write what are called the standards of care that these gender clinics claim to follow. Now, they don't have to follow them. They can go younger than the ages that are recommended. But the president of WPATH is a doctor, a trans woman, trans-identified male named Marcy Bowers. And Marcy Bowers admits to doing castrations on 16-year-old boys as well. Marcy Bowers, in a Zoom call, admitted that literally none of the boys that started on puberty blockers at 10 or stage 2 have ever been able to have an orgasm.
Oh my
You
God.
think it's okay to destroy the sexual function of it, the future sexual function of a child? You think a child can possibly consent to what they're losing when they're not able to have a relationship as an adult? You think it's okay to sterilize kids, many of whom are autistic and are just going to grow up to be gay? Because all the academic studies into this point out that 80 to 90% of the time, kids with gender dysphoria simply see it desist. And the majority of them, according to all these academic studies going back decades, show that kids with gender dysphoria grow up to be gay often. What a surprise that is. Effeminate little boys often grow up to be gay. Not exactly shocking, is it? So now what they're doing is they're stopping puberty in these kids, and they're destroying their bodies before they have a chance to grow up, figure out.
Just keep
themselves.
fucking talking at me, man, and you're like, so you can leave the
Well,
rest
you've
of
got
these
nothing
people
to
alone.
contribute, so
The more
go
you
on,
like
tell me how
flap
I'm a
your
fascist.
fucking gums at me,
Yeah.
the less you have to hassle the students at Harvard. Get fucked, Chris.
Mhm.
Get fucked.
I'm loving this footage.
Go home.
You're doing my job for me.
Go home. Where are you from
Why
in
are your
Canada?
arguments like personal against him and not based on the issue?
Yeah,
I
why don't you talk about some
I never
scientific
heard of
facts?
Chris till 2 days ago, and I just saw that there was a protest against doing, sex change surgery and the hormones, the poison hormones on kids at Children's Hospital, and I wanted to get down there, and I couldn't get down there, and then
Oh, wow,
somebody.
you might have made it to 11 people, Chris. You might have made it
No,
to
and then I
11 people at
just
your
found
rally.
out that,
there were
that
12.
Chris organized.
I think there were 12.
12. I'm not Baker's dozen.
Millions of people around the world.
Did you get sunburned? Is that why you took a break?
Oh, I went to go put some sunscreen
Yeah, you
on,
put some
yeah.
sunblock on. I'm sorry. We wouldn't want you to get sunburnt while you were fucking around and threatening a hospital.
How was I threatening a hospital?
You and your buddies who called it a
buddies?
bomb threat
Which
with your
buddies?
stochastic terrorism
Which of-
tour.
Oh, no, see, the left is the ones accusing me of stochastic terrorism. I'll tell you exactly what I did. I tweeted out Boston Children's Hospital's own videos, and that's all I did. And I described factually what goes on. Is it my fault that the outrage was so intense that people all across the country have finally discovered that they're cutting off organs of innocent little children? Is it my fault that Boston Children's Hospital produced these videos with all this inspirational music in the background where they talk about gender-affirming hysterectomies?
Yeah, I saw that video. It's disgusting. Everybody should go find that video and watch it to see how disgusting this really is, like encouraging like young girls to get hysterectomies.
Mm-hmm. Do you think girls should get gender-affirming hysterectomies?
Fuck off, Chris.
Is that a yes or is that a no?
You're blatantly conflating the topics between hormone blockers and gender-affirming surgery.
These all go together, my friend. So there's hormone blockers, then there's the
So you
cross-sex
think that
hormones,
girls-
and then there's the surgeries. This
girls
is
should
all
get
part of a
hormone
medical treadmill.
blockers.
Do you think we should block puberty in kids?
Yes, I
How
do.
come?
If those kids are experiencing gender dysphoria, I believe they should have whatever medical means necessary to reduce that dysphoria.
And you've read the science for this, have you?
Yes, actually.
I mean,
gross.
Are these people unbelievable or what? I mean, in
I
this,
hope this guy should get some. I think the guy in the mask there should get some hormone blockers and probably castrated.
yeah, I
yeah.
wish he had asked him. So you went through
Yeah.
puberty. You went through
Right.
puberty, didn't you? You have a normal sized penis, don't you? Or maybe you don't. Maybe it's small. I
No,
don't know.
I don't
but
think so. Yeah.
I don't. He might have a micro penis. Let's just be completely honest. I love how at one point Chris calls this guy with the balaclava. He goes, "Look at this sexy beast over here," and he also challenges them to do 20 push-ups. He goes, "It is my experience that people like you who believe that little children should be given cross-sex hormones also cannot do 20 push-ups. Can you do 20 push-ups?
That's
do you
amazing.
exercise at all?" He is so freaking funny. And the last video, wait, where is it? This one comes up, this one woman comes up and all she does is wave a flag in his face for a half an hour. And it is just insane. He's trying to get a picture and this guy is just standing in his way. I love him so much. He's so unafraid.
Sunglasses on.
Nice flag.
He's got a hood on. Why? Because he thinks we should be sterilizing children, many of whom will grow up to be gay. Many of whom have autism. Yeah.
Oh, here's a good example of a journalist today. This guy claims to be a journalist.
Channel 781.
Here, I'll take this.
Okay.
Channel 781.
I'm not a pro-journalist.
Channel what?
I'm not a pro-journalist.
No, 781.
Unlike
What's your
Megan
name?
Fox.
How do you spell your last name?
Kastorf.
Castor.
Kastorf.
We should look him up.
Great. Go ahead and interview me.
Why are you here at Harvard?
I'm here to have conversations with brilliant people like Antifa boy here, flag waver, and cloth mask wearer.
Why do you think you're getting such a hard time here in Boston?
I'm getting a great time in Boston.
But you have got somebody waving a flag in your face.
There's
showed up to tell him to leave
oh,
Boston
there,
Children's Hospital.
there's
I
always
love how he
few
acts
of
like
these
that's a
people.
victory.
These are the
Somebody
vast minority
is
of the population. More than 90%
waving
of
a
the
little
population
flag in
support
his
what I'm doing.
face, and that's a victory. Like,
I know.
okay, just means there's an obnoxious person. That's all.
I know. Listen to these stupid questions.
You've got somebody wearing a flag in your face.
What stupid questions that he's asking him. They're the worst.
Of course, you're going to get the weird counter protests.
That mask is not going to protect him on his chin. I'm just telling you.
On Twitter earlier today that part of the reason you were coming to Harvard was because of Alejandra Caraballo, who's been documenting the things you've been saying about Children's Hospital. Is that part of the reason you're here?
No, I really don't care about Alejandro. I was just having fun.
You also said that she claimed to have your home address. Is that right?
Oh, that's what I hear. I heard he said that. Yeah.
Would she say that in public?
Well, Alejandro is a man.
We're talking about the same person. Did she say that in public?
Yeah, Alejandra Carabello. That's a man.
Are you here? So you are here today because you have an issue with her?
No, not at all. I'm just simply stating that that's a man, and the proper pronouns are he, him.
Is it creepy to have Antifa following you around?
I love it. They're doing my job for me.
I love it.
Thank you.
That's
You're
it.
welcome.
That's all
Thank
he
you.
wanted to ask? What?
That's it.
That's it.
You got him, bro. You got him,
Oh,
man bun.
yeah. Wow. You really did. This is the absolute state of journalism today. All he wants to do is ask about some Twitter war between some trans person and Billboard Chris instead of like, hey, why don't you tell us why you're out here? Like, why are you here? What about the puberty blockers? What can I find out about you? And this really pissed me off. Now, this bothers me because this police officer does not know his job. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Where does the officer
Full
show
progress
up?
pride flag. What a mishmash of colors that is. The baby blue, the baby pink. It's literally like an arrowhead wiping out gay and lesbian people.
And graphic design is your passion.
It's a good representation. Do you know one of my biggest groups of support comes from the gay and lesbian community? How about that? How does that make any sense? Take a stab. Why do you think so many gay and lesbian people support me? Why do you think so many gay and lesbian people support me? Mm-hmm. We got so much intelligence on display here today.
Tina, you would think so, but when he actually finds a police officer and tells him he's being stalked by Antifa later on, the cop's like, yes, so. It is the worst. He runs into the worst police officer ever after this guy. It is this whole thread. Every single one of these videos is
I think
worthwhile.
I'm going to take a little break.
It's been fun, guys.
Oh, sir. Doing well. How are you?
This pisses me off. ID.
Am I required to show it?
Yeah, you have it.
So is it? I'm not sure. Is this public land or private land?
It's private property. You are allowed.
So this is private land?
You are allowed. It's public access.
Okay.
It is private property, but we do allow public access.
So I'm allowed to walk through here?
You can't solicit.
I'm not soliciting. What does that mean?
You can't show. You can't pass us information or.
I'm not passing out anything.
Well, that's passing out. Like that's not.
Okay.
He's not passing out anything.
You can go out there, but I just wanted ID for our records.
That's okay. I appreciate it.
No, I'm asking.
Am I free to move?
No, I'm asking for ID.
Am I free to leave?
No, I'm asking for ID, please.
But am I under arrest?
No.
Okay, then I don't have
Then
to
I
show
don't
ID.
have to give you an ID.
No, all right.
So quit asking for my ID.
Thank you.
You want to talk about
Well,
fascism?
I think those are my rights, right?
On public property, it is, yes, sir. I have that.
This is public
Okay.
property. You just said there's public access.
I'm leaving.
He said it's private property, though. I'm confused at how this works because that's bull too.
Oh,
That is
he
public
said-
property.
Yeah, that's bull crap too. He said it's
Yeah.
Harvard property, but there's public access, which makes it, guess what? Public property.
Public property. Yeah.
If there is public access, it is public property. The way they try to
Finagle the words. Yeah.
finagle it. Finagle's a good word because it's just absurd. All right, so before we go back to the Boston Children's Hospital video, there's one more that I want you to see because I laughed and laughed and laughed.
I have to go back to those women again. Oh,
yeah,
God.
we do. We have to go back there. But
Chat, make it stop.
they wouldn't give him a hug. They walk him back to his car, but won't give him hugs goodbye. And it's so sad. Wait, let's see. Where is it? Because it's really funny when they get back to
Someone
the car.
tells me to leave. Any closing comments, my genius friends, before I sadly have to depart?
Let's get out of the city first.
I'll be back many times. In fact, I'm going to come back here
many
just
times.
because of you. Because apparently that's how my brain is wired. Every time someone tells me to leave, I am 100 times more likely to park myself in that very spot. So thank you. The people of Harvard, thank you. The children of Boston, thank you for amplifying my message. I think because of you, many kids are going to grow up intact because their parents are going to wake up to this child abuse going on in society. They're going to wake up to the ideology that's being taught to their kids in schools. And I think a lot of that is
Yeah, me
partly
too.
thanks
Lisa,
to you.
I wouldn't be able to
Me
handle
too.
that.
So, man, I wish I could give you a hug. Do you hug? Can I have a hug?
Please don't touch me.
I can't have a hug? Come on. I just want to thank you. Can I have a hug? Can I have a hug from you?
Don't touch me, Chris.
Oh, these guys don't want to hug me. These guys don't want to hug me.
This is how you deal with these people. And
It's amazing.
I don't know where it is because I don't have the timestamps or anything, but at one point he says to them, they get real, one of them, the mask, the guy with the surgical mask gets close to him and Chris says to him something like, I can handle myself. And the way he says it, you can see the fear in the guy's eyes and he backs up real quick. I mean, these guys think they're such tough guys, but the second an actual man gives them the signal that you're treading a little too close, like you better back up. Oh, did he get far away quickly? It was so funny to watch the fear settle into his eyes, like, oh shit. And it was just hilarious. Just hilarious. I love these videos. You guys should follow Billboard Chris at Billboard Chris on Twitter if you want to see more of this. And now, because we were, and this is all related, of course, because what got Chris going was this Boston Children's Hospital's gender clinic. And these are the people that we are watching right now describing how they mutilate and destroy children's bodies for life. And this is what Chris is trying to tell the public. Wake up. This is happening.
In the future. The other thing to just remember is that families are built in many different ways. Some families have genetically related offspring, some don't, and all of those families are equally beautiful.
Dr. Carswell, we're getting a lot of questions about the safety of gender affirming hormones. Can you talk to people a little bit about what we know and what we don't know about short and long-term safety? And we've also gotten a lot of questions about insurance coverage. And what I'm going to say about that is it varies a lot from state to state and insurance company to insurance company. So unfortunately, that's not something we can give you a general answer about because it's people here from all over the country and we really only know about Massachusetts.
So the safety issue is one that kind of comes up, that we talk about a lot. And the answer is, these are hormones that we're dealing with that our own bodies make. And we don't think of them as having side effects as so much as expected effects. So this is something I talk about a lot. We know what the effects of testosterone are, and we know what the effects of estrogen are. So from like a side effect profile, it's not going to have, you're never going to see an ad on TV like you do with an antibiotic or a urinary medicine that's like, these are the side effects, and it lists like 800 different effects. That's not necessarily the case with these. These are hormones naturally occurring.
What'd be fun is to get the link to one of these Zoom meetings in advance, and then show up in the Zoom meeting. Be like, hi.
I know. Well, they would shut it down. They would shut it down so fast. It's not even funny. They'd shut it down so fast.
Both cis males, cis females, people with ovaries, people with testicles make both estrogen and testosterone.
People with ovaries.
In different flavors, pretty much. So we know that they are safe for
she
all
likes
of
the
us.
testicle
So,
flavor.
We can extrapolate some of that. In terms of long-term data,
Alex Stein Zoom raid.
We don't
Yes.
have a lot of long-term data for this particular population, for a trans population or a gender diverse population in adolescents. The data that we do have seems to suggest that there really are no, as we see, no long-term side effects. And it has been looked at. There are rare case reports of, I think, endometrial cancer, but not increased above the general population. Same with breast cancer, is actually decreased for the population.
All right, hold on a second. Chat. This is actually not the hospital that Matt Walsh outed. He outed Vanderbilt in Tennessee. They're doing it all over the place.
In Tennessee. It's crazy.
Unwokeable podcast outed the Oklahoma Children's Hospital. Oklahoma, John. Oklahoma's doing this. This is
well, it is like,
all
even
over
in
the
the red
country.
states, it's just a red state is just a place where the city population is not enough to overwhelm everybody else who's normal. And so like a blue state is just where the city population has gotten so explosive that it has overwhelmed everybody else. So these exist everywhere. I mean, when you look at it on state line level, it's really a different war. It's screwed up city people versus everybody else is kind of how it goes on.
Everybody else. Yeah. Everybody. And that's one of the reasons I love Billboard Chris's confidence, because he knows that the majority of people are behind him. They are behind him. And the idea that somehow this is really the pervasive thing that really everyone is all for is just false. It's just because they own the institutions. That's all. As soon as people figure out what the hell is going on, this is all going to stop. Oklahoma, it's the University of Oklahoma Children's Hospital, Dolly and Gabriel. And you can go to Unwokeable Podcast and see all about that, or follow him on Twitter, because he is dropping documents and videos of them too, and they're scrubbing everything as fast as they can, just like Vanderbilt.
It's starting to shift, though. I mean, the problem with sort of our normal family side is we all just kind of like go to work, and then we take care of our families, and we're kind of insular in that way, where we're not looking at the broader picture. Whereas all these weirdos, these ladies that we're seeing on this video right here, are not having families. They're not having children, and so they are they're getting mentally deranged, because biologically they should be having children, and it's starting to tick-tock on their whole lives. But number two, like, they just have all this time to dedicate towards these institutions, get on these boards, etc. Whereas normal people with children don't have that time. And so that's happened over the last 40, 50 years, to where everything's gotten converged at the same time. But we're starting to see now, like, finally, like I'd say over the last 2 years, we've got a activism, and I'm not calling it conservative activism, because this is beyond conservatism at this point. When you're talking about giving hormone treatments to like 9-year-olds, we're talking about normal people. That's normal people activism is finally starting to happen, and you're seeing shifts finally where people are standing up to it and they're getting shut down.
And I
You're
gotta
seeing
tell you
finally,
that dad standing up
yeah,
means a ton.
it means a lot.
We got a super chat here, John. I think you should read this one.
All right. Seven Dust, thank you for the $5 super chat. We appreciate it here. I identify as Megan Fox, and I'm reading this to you. Megan Fox has a thumb for a big toe. X-Men has started. Oh, boy. Do you have a gross big toe?
No, that's the other one.
Oh, the other one. Oh, it is. Oh, I forgot about
She
her
has
toes.
toe
Oh, she
thumbs.
has disgusting feet. Yeah.
It's not the feet,
You're
it's
right,
her
Seven Dust.
fingers. It's her fingers. Her
It's her
fingers look like toes.
No, her feet are weird, too.
Are her feet weird? I don't know. I've
Yeah.
never seen her feet.
We can... Okay.
I don't have a foot fetish thing like some
Oh,
of you
I don't...
degenerates do.
Oh,
Some of you
I
are
outed
very,
myself.
very obsessed with feet. So I think that that's part of the degenerate nature of who you really are. But that's okay. We love you anyway.
I
Foot
thought we were
fetish.
talking about Megan Fox.
And also in the other direction for people who go on
I totally
estrogen,
forgot about
their
that.
risk of breast
I don't
cancer
think
is
about the
usually a little bit
actress.
lower.
Yeah.
We don't have all that. There's not many reports of that though. So we pretty much say that as far as we can tell, there's really no increased cancer risks.
As far as we
Yeah,
can
right.
tell.
That sounds
Wait a minute.
scientific.
Wait, as far as we can tell. But we've only been doing this though for the last 10 years. We have no idea what it's gonna do. We have
Yeah,
no
wait till these
clue.
people are 50 and 60. Oh my gosh.
As far as we can tell, there's no increased cancer risk. Wow, talk about covering your ass.
And the other thing to keep in mind is we use these hormones all the time for kids who can't go through puberty on their own and are cis-identified. So there's a lot of conditions.
Wait, whoa. Who cannot go through puberty on their own? You would use puberty blockers to help a child go through puberty because it's not working? That she's lying. Puberty blockers are only used for children. Oh, I know what she's talking about. All right, I knew a kid with this condition. So I have a friend. She's actually the friend who set me up with my husband on a blind date. Her son had a growth plate problem where he was not growing. And he was not growing at a normal rate. And so he was very small, and there was something going on with growth plates and with his pituitary gland. So he was on medication, not puberty blockers, but it was like some kind of medication to jumpstart the growth, the pituitary gland. So maybe she's talking about that. But I don't think that it's not the same thing as Lupron. Certainly not. Lupron halts puberty. So you would need whatever is the opposite of that. But to claim that using these medications on children who are perfectly healthy, who would go through puberty on their own if you left them alone, that somehow you're justified in stopping a natural process because there are some children who need medical help to go through this is so outrageous. It is medical malpractice. It is it is like saying, well, we use this drug on cancer patients because, they have cancer and they need to be healed. But we can also use it on patients who do not have cancer for some other Frankenstein reason that we've decided is a good idea. Like, what? What? Like, we give
It's
steroids
crazy.
to people who have sinus problems, but we're also going to give steroids to this person who has no problems just so he can have bigger muscles. Like, what are you talking about? This is so unethical.
To have functioning ovaries, whether that's been, through a cancer treatment or whether they were born without functional ovaries, where they have a genetic issue that makes their ovaries non-functional, or testicles. And these are the exact same hormones that we use for them. And we do have longer term data for them. It's not at all that they're dangerous in any way. They have permanent effects, but they, in terms of overall health, they're very predictable in their effects. So,
Oh, really?
Just
because we know that over 10 years use, this is ridiculous.
A testicle bearing individual or an ovary bearing individual.
Testicle bearing individual, John.
Testicle bearing individual. Yes. Brilliant.
Dr. Bernard, can you talk a little bit about vaginoplasty for patients who were on blockers prior to puberty and have underdeveloped genitalia?
Did you hear that?
Yes, of course.
Can you
So these
talk
are
about
great questions.
vaginoplasty
Oh,
for
no.
people who are on puberty blockers and have underdeveloped genitalia? Now, let me ask you something. Why do they have underdeveloped genitalia, John?
Because they were on puberty blockers?
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh,
Winner.
wow.
We have a winner.
I didn't need I needed a PhD for that, surely. So
we have a winner.
Unacceptable.
They have underdeveloped genitalia because they were put on puberty blockers by these monsters in the medical community that stopped their penises from growing. Holy shit!
Unbelievable.
Holy shit!
Objection hearsay. Oh my God, I don't have a case.
These people, none of them have a case. This is
They
all
don't.
garbage. It is absolute garbage. How is this happening? How are we doing this? Now let's listen to what he has to say. Listen to the amount of pain that someone with underdeveloped genitalia is going to go through now at the hands of this surgeon.
So the formal name or the gold standard for this procedure is penile inversion vaginoplasty. What we do in this procedure, we actually take the male genitalia and we try to reconstruct like with like tissues and to create actually the external genitalia along with the neovagina, which is the vaginal space itself. In this procedure, we also, as I mentioned earlier,
I wonder if this guy has ever tried to have sex with a neovagina. I wonder.
I don't want to know.
You know that the depth of a so-called neovagina
I don't want to know. Stop it.
Is only a few centimeters, right? It's only a few centimeters. So if you are a man with a normal sized penis, like you are not going to be able to hit that. Like it doesn't work that way. That's the longest neovagina they can get is a few centimeters long. This is just a gaping hole with no practical purpose whatsoever. It's just an open wound. Like, let us be clear. You can't even use it for sex. You cannot use it. It's
Megan, I have to eat lunch here shortly.
Oh, you don't want to talk about cleaning the grout in a neovagina?
Oh God.
You don't want to talk about that? That's something you can't.
Oh, I can't handle it.
Unacceptable.
Are you sure?
I'm really squeamish. Yeah, I'm not a medical person.
I just want to be clear. People need to know what this really is. People need to know what this is actually. When he says neovagina, you need to know what this thing is. It is not anywhere near what a vagina is. In fact, I'll never forget, I stopped watching the show shortly after the scene. There was a show about plastic surgeons. I now don't remember what it was called.
Oh, no.
Do you know this show I'm talking about?
I don't want to know it. No, yeah, I remember that existing, and I remember being grossed out by every aspect of it.
By every aspect of that show. Well, I began watching it, and I think it was shortly into season 1. I don't know. There was they had one of the most beautiful women ever playing a tranny for some reason, because no one would ever believe that she's a man, first of all. And of course, nowadays you would never get away with that. A woman could not play a trans woman. Like you wouldn't be allowed to do that. But anyway,
it's really interesting. Like, I mean, they want to present it in Hollywood like all these trans women. Or it actually started in anime. Is the anime that there's a classic anime trope called the trap, and you'd have this beautiful girl in anime, and she'd be all shiny and sparkly, and then you'd learn she's really a man, but it's a cartoon, so they could do that. In real life, like they don't end up looking like that, and so they think they're going to become these magical anime girls is what happens, and then they end up just like deformed weirdos.
Yeah, they used Famke Jensen. It was Famke Jensen, who is absolutely beautiful, and they used her in this show to be a trans woman. And there was a scene where one of the doctors is trying to goes to have sex with her, and the second he gets in, he stops and he gets back out real quick, and he's like, "What the hell?" Right? And that was because he's a plastic surgeon. He's actually done these surgeries, and he knows exactly what he's dealing with, which is supposedly a neo vagina, right? That was probably the last scene I watched out of that show.
Oh
I
my
still
gosh.
can't remember what it was called. It was something about Miami, whatever. Anyway, the
I,
point
I
is,
I can't do any of that stuff. Yeah.
the
I get mad, like, even if they show it, too many TV shows show the needle getting inserted into something now, like when
Ooh.
they're stabbing somebody with a needle or whatever.
And you
I
can't
can't even
deal.
watch that.
Thank you. It
No.
was Nip Tuck.
Yeah.
Yes, was it Nip Tuck? Is that what it was called? Hold on, now I have to look this up.
That was definitely one of those shows.
Nip Tuck, because it was like drama series. Yeah, that's what it was. It was Nip Tuck. That was it. And it was then that I was thinking to myself, geez, they're absolutely right. Like, any man who'd ever been with a woman before would know the difference between a neo vagina and a real one. The idea, and listening to this surgeon discuss this, oh, it's just great. Just keep that scene in mind, okay, as we are listening to him talk about this surgery.
But for those who are on puberty blockers, sometimes the testes are very small, and the penis also is very small, meaning you have much less tissue available for the reconstruction. This is why sometimes we need to use skin from other locations. Fortunately, it's not that common. Okay, we most of the times can do some modifications to the tissue that we use.
When they say skin tissue from other locations, yeah, they mean the colon. Guess what that does when you use skin from the colon to make a neovagina as a lining? It smells like a colon, John.
Oh.
Extending the skin graft that we're using from the scrotal area, but also we can take some tissue from other locations, including the thigh or lower abdomen, and hide the scar in very reasonable locations. So
I'm seriously getting queasy, Chad. This is ugh.
Listen, I'm pressing on. If you have to go, I understand, but I'm going through with it. We are going through with this because people need to know. So if you need
How
to
much
go,
longer is this?
I don't know. We're not even halfway through it. It's like
oh
an hour.
no.
Megan, stop. Hey, you asked me not to leave earlier. So here I am now, and this is what we're doing. Oh God.
Oh God.
God. I can't. Some of you in the chat right now with the comments, I can barely read them, let alone read them out loud.
Not need these modifications to their operation, but if we need more tissue, we have some places to take.
We have some places to take it from. Yeah, your asshole, for instance.
To take that from.
Dr. McGregor and Dr. Carswell, I think either one of you or both of you might want to answer this question, which I love. We got it a couple of times. How has COVID changed the number of people you're seeing coming in and trying to come in for care? I know this is something we've talked a lot about behind the scenes, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
I think that COVID has probably increased the amount of people that
You don't say that teenagers got isolated from their friends in school and everyone else, and so they went online and fell down rabbit holes where creepy, weird adults groomed them into thinking that they needed trans surgeries. You don't say.
I think that COVID was quite an experience for all of us, and the fact that we were kind of at home, there's a lot less activities in our daily lives. We have a lot less distracting things. We're really just kind of left with ourselves at home, and you can imagine where this might lead to a little bit more self-reflection, and maybe you're also with family a lot more than maybe usual, so it leads to disclosures as well. So it certainly has led to seeing more patients, but at the same time, there's no indication that COVID itself has increased or that the experience
government tyranny, quite an experience. Yes.
Identity percentile in our population. I think that the kids we see now that have come to see us throughout the time of the pandemic they have very similar stories and similar journeys that we've seen before. I think that they just it came to a head during a time when maybe there was a lot less distracting them and allowed them to kind of fully disclose and come out. Jeremy, was that your experience or?
Yeah, 100%. And just looking at our numbers, especially in the last several, I don't want to say maybe at least 6 months, it's hard to exactly quantify, but, our volume probably, if we were able to to accommodate everybody would probably be like a 5x increase in our volume. So, and we are not unique in this program. Other programs have experienced very similar things.
And Dr. McGregor, I'm going to stick with you for a second. We've gotten a bunch of different questions along the lines of, how do we know that a child's gender dysphoria is real? How do we know it's not just peer pressure or mental illness or
You don't.
something like that? How do we know that kids who are presenting as gender
And they don't
diverse
even
are
try.
actually gender diverse and there's not something else going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of understandable questions about kind of what's real, what's not. I think it's important to note that for that child, it's very real. So I think that the answer is that it's always real.
It's always real.
Other factors we should be
It's always real. Did you hear that? It's always real, John. Whenever your child says something outrageous, it's always real. They think that they're an alien from another planet. It's real, John. It's always real.
It's
My kid
always
spent-
real.
My kid spent like
Yes.
6 months pretending to be a puppy. I guess she's a puppy. That was real. Oh my God.
I was in junior high, and there was a kid in my class who decided to do that. And I just remember looking at him, and I'm like 12, and my buddies are like 12, and this kid is walking around on all fours in the class, and and I'm just like, and it's like first day of school or whatever, and he goes, I'm like, what's going on? He goes, rawr. And I remember this vividly. I'm 40 now, and this was when I was 12. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. And my buddy goes, what's your name? And he goes, Brent. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, so what are you doing? And he goes, dog. And I vividly remember that, and it was weird. And Brent should not be encouraged.
Brent should not be encouraged.
Brent should not be encouraged to pretend to be a dog.
This is no, Brent should not be. Brent should be disciplined immediately. Brent at 12 years old should be told to get up off the floor, son, and sit in your chair, because we're not dogs. You're a human, and we don't allow dogs in school. If you're a dog, you need to go to the vet or the pound or something. But you get in your chair, Brent. Jeez.
Now, incidentally, my dog does like to get up on the couch and then kind of put his back against the couch and pretend that he's a human sitting with us. So
that should also be stopped immediately.
But that's cute. That's super cute. I don't know.
I don't know why it is cute when dogs do it, but when people do it, it is not cute at all.
Considering other complexities, nuance to the situation, I think that that's certainly something we explore a lot in our program. In general, it's still very rare to present as gender diverse. I think that sometimes we think this is like, it's just exploding and everybody is doing this. It's still very small, maybe like 1%, less than 1%. It depends on kind of what studies you're looking at, but it's a small amount of the population that experiences kind of gender diversity, at least that we know of right now. And so I think it's worth taking seriously every time. There's a lot of distress that can come with feeling like you're learning things about yourself that might be different for you or might make it harder for you in some spaces. And so I think that we always take it very seriously. The best indicator, though, if someone is going to experience kind of benefits from more long-term treatment, like what we offer, is just consistency over time. We find that if there's an exploration process, that exploration process takes part, it goes through, and then eventually people kind of land where they land. And when they're consistent for a good amount of time, that usually gives us a good indication that, this is really who this person is, and then there's not necessarily any other.
Does this sound scientific to you in any way?
But I think that the real
it's people talking out their ass. That's all it is.
And I think we always need to take it seriously.
Trust the science, fam.
To support that child, even if it's, again, not medically, even if it's just supporting them, allowing them to try different names, allowing them to try different.
I bet you they give kids COVID vaccines too.
Expressing themselves.
Probably.
These are all things that are so normal to adolescent and child development. And I think that, we need to just allow the child to kind of go through that process and then see where we all end up at the kind of the end of that journey. But hopefully that addresses.
I can't believe these people went to medical school. I find it so difficult to believe.
That's something that unfolds over time.
This is cult. This is religion.
We're all aware of the high rates of suicidality.
Oh, here we go. Suicidality.
Substance use around transgender youth. And it's really important to know that having a supportive parent makes a big difference in kids and adolescents staying safe. And as Dr. McGregor just said, being supportive does not mean that you have to let your kid have hormones or have to let your kid have surgery.
But if you
It's
don't,
about allowing to
you're going to be in
express themselves
court.
as their gender, respecting their gender identity, and respecting their pronouns.
Imagine these
And
people
just another
telling you,
question that we
John,
got
as
a
a
lot
parent,
about
what
is
you have to do.
when children
Just imagine this group of people sitting you down and being like, you have to respect your child's pronouns. I'd be like, fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. I don't have to do anything. You have no authority over me. And by the way, that hospital that Matt Walsh is after, Vanderbilt, they just put out new videos where they are role playing how to talk to parents just like this.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, you didn't see that?
Oh
Did you
jeez,
not
no, I haven't
see
seen that one yet. No.
Oh, it's so good. Hold on,
Oh
I'll see if
gosh.
I can find
Oh
it.
shit.
I'll see if
I'm
I can
prolonging
find
the
it.
stream, chat. More, I'm making you wait more for these women that we're gonna have to listen to. My God.
Oh my God, it's incredible. It's so incredible. Wait, where is it? Where is it? Oh shoot, I'm gonna look for it while we keep listening to this because it is hilarious.
want to present differently in different spaces. Is that normal? Is that safe? And the answer is yes. It's often hardest on the parents because they have to keep track of everything, and that can sometimes feel like a lot. But there are plenty of reasons why children will choose to present as their affirmed gender in some spaces and as their assigned gender in other spaces.
Assigned
so, Dr.
gender.
Grinstad, I have a question for you that I know that you have a lot of information about. I have read that long-term use of testosterone can lead to vaginal atrophy. Is that correct? And if so, is that what
Vaginal atrophy sounds wonderful.
Oh boy.
Great question. And it's actually very interesting. You know, the way that testosterone affects
These ladies are about to have some vaginal atrophy.
and that is no exception with regards to
This
the
stream is
genitals.
giving me vaginal
some
atrophy.
people will experience a great degree of vulvovaginal atrophy. That atrophy may be asymptomatic, which means they don't even know that it's happening. It doesn't bother them. They're able to go about their day-to-day. Atrophy itself doesn't have any sort of long-term negative risk.
Oh my God. Vaginal atrophy is not bad at all. That's what I'm getting from her. Don't worry.
It's totally a good thing.
It's
Yeah.
totally fine. And there's no
Great.
Oh my God. You have a dead vagina, but it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry.
Quality of life components. There may be other people who do experience atrophy and it bothers them, either with just kind of non-specific genital pain. It could cause discharge because atrophic vaginas tend to have different discharge from vaginas that have estrogen in them. Other people may have pain or discomfort associated with things like sex. And if that's true, then we can offer them moisturizers, lubricants, as well as vaginal estrogen, which does not do anything to affect the testosterone.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So if you have pain, we're just going to treat you like a 60-year-old woman and give you, inserts and things that you've got to use now, non-natural moisturizers and lubricants at 15
Oh boy.
fucking years old.
Wow.
You are a young woman, but you are now going to have to use stuff your grandma is using to keep her lady bits moist. Holy crap.
Oh, I don't want to think about that either.
The rest of their body to
Don't have
help
to think about any of this
support
shit.
them through those components.
Why do you
I
do
will
this?
say that the majority of people who are on testosterone do not have significant atrophy in a way where we can actually visualize it on exam, which suggests that there's enough of the testosterone that's converting to estrogen in their body to support those tissues in a healthy manner.
Dr. Carswell, could you talk a little bit about the difference between sort of cisgender kids being uncomfortable with puberty and transgender kids being uncomfortable with puberty?
That's a good question. I think it's really individual, honestly. I think a lot of kids. Hello, dog. Yeah, I think some people really feel that adolescence is a really uncomfortable time, no matter if you're cisgender or not. I think it's especially uncomfortable if you are gender diverse, because then you're having some, very incongruent.
There's no such thing as gender
things happening with
diverse.
your body. But I don't think I've met too many
There
adolescents that
isn't.
are like
Is that when
super
you're
hyped
multiple
about
genders?
having
Can you be
puberty.
multiple genders at the same time?
There's no such thing as
I'm
gender
confused.
diverse. There are boys and there are girls. End of story. Period. The end. Goodbye. This is especially for kids who are gender diverse. No, that's in your head. You made that up. You made all of this up to get money for your hospital, you disgusting, terrible people. That's what you did.
So yeah, I think it definitely can exist. I think it's just that much more exacerbated for those who are gender diverse.
There's no such thing as
I don't know if
gender
anybody else has any
diverse.
comments on that.
It doesn't
I just want
exist.
to add to that. I think that, I see adolescents kind of, in gyms and outside of gyms. I think that the level of distress is actually quite different. I mean, most of the adolescents who are kind of not gender diverse or cisgender, who I see in other settings.
John, thanks for the John Yarber, thanks for the super chat. He says Salty Cracker did a story Tuesday where they used tissue from a cadaver to build a vajayjay. Oh, great. Dead flesh. Yeah, that nothing could go wrong there. I'm sure nothing is gonna go wrong there. Jeez.
They might not be happy about puberty, they kind of put up with it, versus there's a real focus for a lot of our gender diverse folks on puberty. It's very distressing to them. They're very distressed by particular aspects of their development and how that doesn't affirm their gender. And there's just a very different feeling. I think it becomes much more encompassing. And I always say, follow the distress. And so there's a different flavor and intensity to the stress in our gender diverse folks most often than just kind of being annoyed with puberty or
Oh
being,
my god, a different flavor or intensity. I take offense to this. I have a 13-year-old. I have a 13-year-old who has major distress about puberty. It is not it's not different. It is major distress. And it's not because she's has gender dysphoria. It's because puberty is distressing. And I have regular conversations with her about, honey, this is totally normal. And you're going
Yeah,
to
it's
feel
awful.
better when
Puberty
you grow
sucks.
up. When
Like,
you
it really
grow,
does.
yeah, you're growing and like everything hurts. Everything hurts all the time. I don't know if you guys remember this during puberty, but you're getting
I
these
don't,
massive
but
growth spurts.
I just hit 40 and everything hurts all the time. And
Well,
that
it's
seems a
pretty
lot worse.
similar. It's pretty
Okay.
similar than becoming 40 and
It's my
45
back.
and yeah, your back is hurting. But when you're going through puberty, like your knees, your joints, all your joints hurt all the time. And your feet are like super floppy and weird and like they keep getting bigger and so you keep tripping over stuff because you're not used to how big they are all of a sudden. And everything's awkward and your torso's not quite the right size yet. And so you've got these super long legs like puppies. You know how puppies like they fall all over themselves. That's
You know what
it's
they say
like.
about girls with big feet?
I have no idea. I
don't
wanna
know, but we could ask these doctors, and I'm sure they'd have a prescription for it.
Oh, big feet, large phalloplasty.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near the intensity that we tend to see in our gender diverse folks. So it's a very different experience than a cisgender person typically.
Thank you. Dr. Grimstad,
That
will you
based on
talk to
what
us a
scientific
little
information
bit
was that?
about sexual
Nothing.
pleasure and how different hormone regimens and surgeries affect people's ability to experience sexual pleasure?
Yeah. I think this is like the largest group of people I've ever talked about sexual pleasure with, but I'm so happy to do so.
God.
I think that the best thing to remember is like sexual pleasure is so individual, right? Everyone has a different answer for what
They moved the guy up. What happened to that? He was on the bottom. They changed his position.
Hormones are a big part of our kind of transition point into experiencing sexual pleasure. And so puberty and adolescence and early adulthood are going to be a time where people begin to explore how they feel and how they relate to other people. And just as endogenous, so the hormones we produce inside our body may affect that. Hormones that we take outside our body may affect that as well. Birth control pills, gender-affirming hormones, all of those can affect. And I always like to say that the effect is going to be different for every person. So just as you may have felt that your sexual pleasure improved on, let's say, a birth control pill.
Let me ask you a question here. If you stop someone's puberty from developing, will they ever have sexual pleasure? Because most kids do not experience sexual pleasure until puberty and beyond. The idea that you can halt puberty and it's just individual.
Yeah.
It just depends on, it depends. Notice that she is not answering the question.
Your friends didn't, that sort of individualization is just the same for gender affirming hormones. I think for the most part, people who are living in a body they feel comfortable with, in a gender that they feel is their true internal sense of self, and are able to live to their fullest degree of life, are going to have the best ability to have a happy and healthy
Is she
sexual
kidding?
life.
Where's the study that shows that, Francis? Where is the study that shows that the people who are going through these surgeries have the best sex lives? That doesn't exist.
Yeah,
She's
it's all
just
bull.
making it up. She's just making it up.
Regardless of the
It's her
hormones they're
fantasy.
taking or the anatomy. Beyond that, it is all about individual approaches to kind of what their issues are going to be, and how we can best help to support them, whether it's things like thinking about lubrication and vulvovaginal atrophy, or for someone who may be on hormones and who has a penis who's having difficulty maintaining erections, thinking about how we can modify the hormone therapy if that's something that's in their sexual goals.
Thank you.
Oh,
We're getting a lot of questions about whether GEMS is accepting new patients and how long the wait list currently is.
GEMS is their gender clinic.
I just responded to one of those questions. Actually, so unfortunately, do have a wait list.
Can you
right
imagine
now.
a wait
The
list
amount
for
of
this
volume
shit?
that
A wait
has been
list.
coming in is pretty large. So I don't know the exact number right now. We are really, really working hard to try to get everybody off the wait list. We're thinking about some creative ways like webinars and things like that to have people be able to at least get some information to find out if GEMS is the right fit. But if you do call and you leave a message, we will get it. Please don't leave multiple messages because that slows down the process. Or you can send a power chart message if you are already a Boston Children's patient. And again, we will also get that. And then you can also check out our website for any, we go through some of our processes and we have a lot of resources on our website. So it's another great resource. So yeah, I apologize for that. I know that we're not the only ones with a wait list and we really would love to be able to see everybody as soon as possible.
And maybe if I could just add to that, for folks for whom who have periods and for whom periods is a specific dysphoria component, I really do encourage
Folks who have periods. What are those called, Megan?
they feel comfortable
Women.
initiating
Oh, okay.
menstrual
Thanks.
depression. Many pediatricians do, and if not, they can be referred to either adolescent medicine here or our division of gynecology, and we are happy to serve as a resource for that.
Dr. Gnor, can you talk a little bit about how BMI affects the ability to access surgery, both with you and with other surgeons?
Of course. So this is definitely something that is somewhat individual for specific surgeons. Okay. It also depends on the type of surgery that we're talking about. But let's, try and focus on masculinizing chest reconstruction or top surgery, because I think this is one of the most common procedures, and some patients struggle with losing weight before actually getting their chest aligned with their gender identity. So many surgeons decide that they want the patients to be under specific BMI. If you review the medical literature, you see that there's definitely higher complication rate in patients with high BMI. And also, if you review other plastic surgery,
Complication rate in patients with high BMI. And by the way, so fat people can have high complications, but guess what? They still do it. They will ignore the fact that high BMI is a complicating comorbidity, and they will still do it because
What if the
they're
fat person wants to be trans skinny?
Hey, yeah. What if
What?
I identify as a skinny person? Can I get my
Yeah.
insurance to pay for liposuction?
That makes sense.
Oh, I might want to look into that. This is you just hit on something interesting.
A lot of procedures, and the reason for that is because
Why
those
stop with gender?
patients have more wound healing problems. They have the tendency for fluid collection, or the medical term for that is seroma. and if there are other comorbidities that are actually happening at the same time, like diabetes or skin problems or nicotine use, it actually superimposed on the fact that they are overweight. So some surgeons choose to use specific BMI. I think, it's really important to choose a surgeon that you feel comfortable with, and then discuss what are their requirements, and then discuss ways to actually meet their requirements.
Let's discuss ways to get around the BMI requirement. Do you hear this?
I hear it. Yeah.
It's important to remember that even when
let's put them in more danger.
To work with a patient,
Fat
to
kids.
talk to them, to do some way to be
science
ready
doesn't
for
matter.
surgery. It's they're trying to think
Just the
about
feelings.
their well-being and also the aesthetic outcome. So I know it can be sometimes frustrating, but most of the times when it happens, it is reasonable. And also,
Thanks for the super chat, John Yarber. $5. It's the fluorine they put in the water in the 80s. It has to be. It's the only way they could be this evil.
I'm
Maybe.
starting to think that's true. And the other chemicals in the water that are turning the
Turning the
freaking
frogs
frogs
gay.
gay. Yeah.
For me and the way I do things, I don't have a specific cutoff for top surgery. For some patients, I ask them to lose weight before surgery because I think they can do it. And it's appropriate.
How dare you ask someone to lose weight for their
That
own
is
safety?
fat shaming.
That is definitely fat shaming. We
Terrible.
should report this person.
He should be
The other
canceled.
issues that we need to address,
All of his employment
but for
prospects
others,
ruined
I
forever.
think that it's going to be okay for them to have surgery, even if their BMI is a little bit higher. So it really depends on other factors as well. For bottom surgery,
This guy just admitted to doing risky surgery on fat kids just to save their self-esteem. Literally just admitted that.
surgeries, typically there is a requirement for a relatively lower BMI than for top surgery, and that is around BMI of 30 or something like that.
McGregor, we have a bunch of questions about, for lack of a better, just the intersection between gender dysphoria and behavioral problems, and sort of which comes first, the chicken or the egg, but also gender dysphoria and mental health problems. Can you talk about how they interrelate with each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we see a wide individuality to that. Like it's very specific to the person, but in general, we find that most of the mental health distress that we see pops up at around puberty, when we start to see the gender dysphoria get much more intense. And we really see gender dysphoria as kind of fuel to the overall fire that is mental health concerns. So it's certainly, taking away that fuel is certainly only going to help. It will not take away the whole fire likely, but it will.
Because how do you know that the dysphoria isn't caused by one of the other mental health comorbidities? I can't even talk right now. I'm so angry. How is this happening?
Will diminish things and allow somebody to have more resources to devote to coping with other mental health distress. In general, the puberty process is so distressing that a lot of people who might have been prone to mental health concerns to begin with really kind of reach that threshold. And so we start to see a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of suicidality is some of the common things that we see. And then we see some other things that, are a little less common, like bipolar disorder, psychotic experiences, things like that. So we see very
by all
complex
means,
people, and every person
let's cut
is
those
complex,
people's
but in
penises off, because they're psychotic and they have all these other issues. But yeah, sure, okay, I'm for this life-changing, body-altering surgery that they can't come back from. Sure.
In general, the gender dysphoria just adds fuel and makes it harder for somebody to cope with any other distress that they might have. And we find that treating that gender dysphoria does help mental health, especially mood, and especially like some anxiety, especially that social anxiety. We do see that gets much better. So typically we're worried mostly about that adolescent time is when we see the most intensity of distress, especially before they transition. Usually in childhood, we don't see as much gender dysphoria because they haven't been through a non-affirming puberty, which is part of the reason we're such big fans of puberty blockers in appropriate cases, because it is
Jesus.
protective from a
Oh, they're fans.
Big fans.
certainly. And
Yeah.
so we often will not see that distress. There is some behavioral problems we might see pop up in children that are gender diverse as
Thank
well.
you,
but it tends
FFS. That is correct. Puberty is the enemy of maps. And that's what this is all about.
Mm,
That's really what this is all about.
that's
Halting.
interesting.
It's about the money for the hospitals, but the minor attracted persons are interested in keeping people looking like they're 12 years old forever. That's really what this is about. It's a weird, sick sexual fetish.
Be much more connected, I think, in adolescence.
Hey,
It's
but
also
Twitter will
just
ban you
hard
if you
to be
mention that.
gender diverse. There's a lot of difficulties
Well, maps
and
belong on
feeling
walls.
not
That's
affirmed.
where they
We
belong.
hear from a lot of folks that they come out at school and they might experience some bullying around that it's difficult to come out to family, and that's been a bumpy journey for everybody, and that can create distress as well. So there's a lot of things going on in adolescence around the time when gender identity is being explored that can make it seem like a very explosive time and maybe make it confusing for families to figure out, wait, did this depression cause this gender identity? It's really never the case that I look at somebody who's gender diverse and say that other mental health concern caused this gender diversity. I see it as much more complex and as much more intertwined. But the gender diversity itself, we find as we treat that and as we allow someone to fully come into themselves, they tend to do better on the mental health side as well.
Oh God, tend to do. Where are the studies? Where are the studies that she's citing where this comes from? Look at that freeze frame of this one with the red hair. Look at that's a good freeze frame right there. She looks like a turtle. Why? Where are the numbers and the studies that these people should be citing to give actual scientific numbers, answers to these questions? Instead, it's just like generally we see that they do much better. Oh yeah? What percentage, ma'am? What percentage of them do better? And by what standard are you measuring this? What does do better mean? It's just this, none of this is any, they have not said one thing here. They're saying nothing. It's a whole lot of words and a whole lot of time to say absolutely nothing. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right.
Binding, and I'm just going to mention that in the resource sheet that you will receive later this week, there will be information about resources for binding safely and
binding safely,
which is disguising
Jesus.
penis and testicles. And for both of these things, it is possible to do them more and less safely. And so if you have a child or adolescent who is tucking or binding, it can be really helpful to use those resources in order to...
Interesting that she said it can be done more or less safely. So they admit that binding breasts and tucking penises are not safe. You can do it in a way that is more safe, but they are not safe. These practices are not safe. And these are medical professionals telling your children how to perform unsafe procedures. Yeah.
The pain that they experience and other concerns. Dr. Carswell, I have a question that you're going to love. Talk to us a little bit about when parents have to be open that they have a trans child in sports. And I know that
so happy.
Just take it away.
Giddy, gleeful.
Yeah, I actually don't know the answer to that. And I think there's a lot of, I think the answer is you have to assess the safety of disclosure with your, you have to understand what the safety risks are. And certainly, I think it depends where you are in the country. It depends how old your child is.
If you live with all those bigots, you got to be careful.
If they're in high school, if they're a really elite athlete, that's going to have there's probably rules that are set forth by the town, the state, whatever it is. So it's really individual. I think we are just starting to look at kind of what this means in athletics. And the answer is we really don't know. We think for younger kids, there's really no difference if you have testicles or if you have ovaries.
By the way, when the kids are little, they play together. They don't separate them until they hit puberty. So in all the sports teams my kids are on in New York, it's all co-ed.
That's true, actually.
It's all co-ed. So this is garbage about we don't know. We have Hundreds of years of experience knowing that when boys and girls hit puberty, they can't play together anymore. It's not that hard, ma'am.
You just assumed her gender.
She has she/her pronouns in her.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't actually.
Okay.
There's probably
Okay. Well,
really
that was
no
diverse of you.
difference in
Gender
athletic
diverse of you.
performance
See? It says
between,
she/her.
boys,
Can you see it?
girls.
Oh, wow.
But that really hasn't been shown. So hopefully in elementary school there is no issue. And usually schools will have some sort of policy about this. So I think bringing it up, again, assessing safety, maybe talking to an administrator, or it's tricky. I don't. No one has all the answers for this. It's really town dependent, child dependent.
I think one of the other questions that I'd like us to just have to get people's thoughts on, that we've gotten a bunch of different variations of.
God, this woman is weird
kids
looking.
Whose gender expression is different than their identity. So it could be a child who is assigned female at birth and presents as female but identifies as a boy, or it could be a child in a different circumstance. Dr. McGregor, I think you're probably the best person to talk about sort of the difference between expression and identity.
Yeah, I think this can get really confusing because gender expression is really the outward show of our gender, right? How we dress, how we present ourselves physically, how our gestures, how we talk, all of these things that we as humans can use to kind of categorize someone in terms of gender. And often that's all
Stereotypes.
we have as outside observers. So parents just are kind of observing the gender expression. Adolescents are not always great about talking about their deep feelings, so we don't always get clear, concise answers from them, although
We're just going to make up their clear and concise answers. And the answer is they're getting hormone blockers.
They're getting hormone
It
blockers.
can
Yeah.
get very confusing. They are, however, separate constructs. So someone can have an internal sense very much of being male. They say, I am male, I'm fully male, that's how I identify. But they might not fit the cultural ideas of masculinity that we have. And to me, that makes sense. All of our gender diverse folks have been on a very different journey than those who are born and identify as cisgender, right? They have, at least at one point, been identified as, a gender that they don't align with. So they have a different experience of gender and of gender expression. And so they're often not bound to the kind of cultural rigidity that we expect, in others. And so we often see a variety of expressions, and that's okay. And that's completely kind of different.
Oh, I'm glad we
usual
have
to
your
explore that as an
approval.
adolescent, how
I'm glad we have these people's approval.
we will see people who are masculine, who are on testosterone, who are painting their nails or wearing skirts, and that's wonderful. We see that commonly where it's not somebody is kind of bound by some of these rigid gender expectations maybe we have for binary folks. So I think that very common, can be confusing. Again, I do encourage just talking to your adolescent as much as possible, just really trying to get their sense, their experience, the way that they identify and how they think they express themselves and what that means to them. Because I think that adolescents have a lot to say. And if we can engage them around that,
armchair psychologist for a second next to Dr. McGregor, but I maybe an armchair anthropologist, but I just think it's important for us to remember that gender diversity has existed for many centuries in diverse cultures. And so it's not necessarily that this is new. It's that we as a Western society are finally realizing that we need to be better at being inclusive of people that have always existed. And I think when we think about it that way, it makes it a lot easier for us to step back and say it's
I hate her.
not that
I don't
trans
hate many people,
necessarily
but I
barriers
hate
to
this lady.
something or that they're going to struggle more than others. It's that we built this system that's made it harder for them to live and breathe. And so all that we're doing here is trying to create a system that's inclusive of everyone, of every gender.
Does anyone else have anything that they feel like they want to bring up? If not, I want to just bring up one question that we got in advance that I just think it was a really great question from a young person, and I think it's important that we talk about. So we had this great question. What does it mean to feel like a girl when you present
Sorry, I had to take a phone call.
and are not uncomfortable with your body?
I heard you say you hate that lady though, and it was funny.
Yes. Oh my God. You leave me alone with this shit, Megan. This is how you repay
did.
me for being here.
I did.
I think it's, I think it's hard to say because it's so individual, right? I mean, I think that, like I was saying, you can present any way that you want, but you can still have such a firm assertion of who you are. But you also can feel differently depending on the day. You can go through a journey. You can feel, like sometimes I'm more girl than other times, and that's okay. My suggestion is always to get support if you have questions about your own journey or how that's kind of manifesting.
Journey. Every time they say journey, we should take this and make this a drinking game. We'd be drunk by now.
Or, what am I not thinking
Too
of?
early for that on the West Coast here.
That's true. It's too early here too.
That support can look like.
Although this makes me want to drink.
GSAs, there's supportive clubs at school. There's supportive adults and sports teams and at school and in other activities. There's certainly therapists if that's something that someone is open to and is able to find a good fit. But we really want you to have support on that unique journey. And sometimes the reality is we have to sit in a gray area of, well, I don't know, we're going to have to walk this road for a little bit longer before we know what that's like. But it's very normal to have, a lot of questions about what this means for me and whether or not,
I'm still not drinking.
who I am.
I've got like the tail end of COVID. By the way, Megan, I went 3 years. 3 years without getting that shitty China virus. And then I go to your state and I get it.
In New York? Well, New York is the epicenter of COVID. So, you kind of asked for it by coming here. Seven Dust, thanks for the super chat, says, question all, admit some. Yeah, that's your fault for going to New York. I mean, what can I say? I told you to stay out of New York City. It's your fault.
Is my biggest
suffer.
recommendation, and then just giving it time, because
like the rest of us who live here.
For every person, and you might find that over time your gender expression might shift a little bit, or your gender identity might shift a little bit, and that's okay. There's often a journey to find your true identity.
Whoa!
That's how much I don't care about what these people are saying anymore.
Simple and quiet. Wait a minute. Who's trying to get Farron fired? Fired from what? Doesn't she work for herself? Farron works for herself, I think.
Because she was drinking on a live stream and just hanging out
on a live stream. Like what? Why would anybody want to do that? That's silly. I think she works for herself. Oh, she got a new job in DC. What's she doing?
Oh no.
Well, that was a big mistake. Don't work for corporate America.
Don't get a job. Yeah.
Don't work for corporate America if you're going to be on Rekida's live stream. Okay, now they're telling me I have to check Rekida's Twitter.
This is breaking news, everybody.
What's happening? What is happening? I mean, I will admit, when I saw it, I was like, oh no, delete the stream. I try not to get wasted on Rekida's stream. I
try not to get wasted on a live stream, period.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, it doesn't go well.
I sip very slowly. The most I've ever had were 2 glasses of whiskey. So that 2 ounces. And
I've drank on streams before. What I end up doing, I get tired when I drink though. I don't get very interested.
Me too. I don't get interested. I lose my words. I stop being able to put words together, and then it's just, I'm not seeing anything on his, are you talking about his Twitter feed? I'm not seeing anything on Twitter about it. What am I supposed to be looking at? No, I'm not going to play it. Not if it's getting her in trouble. Certainly I don't want to be a part of that. If they were concerned trolls, then don't worry about it. She won't be fired. Anyway, nobody's going to get fired for getting drunk on a live stream at 4 a.m.
And
are they?
Question,
she didn't say anything bad. She was just being funny.
That came up in the questions that I feel like is also coming up in the questions today. Can someone define pangender, and can someone define gender fluid? I know this came up a little bit at the beginning. Dr. McGregor talked about gender fluid, but we've gotten a bunch more questions about it. So could you just go over it for us?
Yeah, I can go over it again. So gender fluid is the idea that literally your gender is fluid. So that can mean that day to day you have a different gender identity. So for instance, we've had patients who've come in and they wear a pronoun button. So today my pronouns are she, her, for instance. maybe
What
tomorrow
a
I'm feeling more
manipulating
non-binary
thing.
or agender, so then I use they
I
them
wear a
pronouns.
different
So
pronoun
it's
button
very
every
different
day.
depending on the person, but usually
Just
it
to
means
fuck
there's
with
some
whoever's
fluidity
talking
and
to
they feel
me.
like they're not
Yeah.
encompassed by a stable gender. Like it's not that
You're
they're
protected
always
from getting
this or
fired that
always
way.
that. It's that they kind of move in between it. Very individual to the person, but that would be more of a gender fluid person. Somebody who identifies as pangender generally, I think, is similar to like agender or non-binary. It's truly outside, of the binary, like kind of identifying as all genders or no genders. I mean, it's very specific to the person, which is why I always recommend you ask what that term
For
means to
God's
that
sake.
person. But in general, it means that you kind of do not subscribe to just one gender or one gender on the binary, that you kind of truly have an outside identity. And that's why it's important to ask, because that even more so than some of the other terms we talked about today is very individual to the person.
Yeah, so many terms with respect to gender and with respect to sexuality have different meanings for different people. We had a great contributor in the question and answer.
So there's never a
who
real
suggested
definition,
that
John. It
bisexual
just
and
means
pansexual
you have to
becomes
keep
the
up
ones
with
of
what
identity.
everybody thinks it
And I've
means
heard
from
both
day
of
to
those,
day.
and I've heard other definitions, which is
I'm
why
over
it's
it.
really
I'm
important.
thinking about I don't like Brazil nuts. Do you know? Are you familiar with Brazil nuts?
They're horrible.
Yeah. Why do they put those in the mixed nut packages?
They're
Nobody
very
likes
bad.
them.
Nobody likes them and nobody eats them. They're very bad. They're very bitter. I don't really understand. Okay, I'm still not seeing anything in the tweet stream that is showing anything about Farron being threatened with being fired. Not seeing it. So I see that 4chan is talking about it. But I mean,
Oh, really?
they were just having fun. I don't know. I was a little concerned that they were still going at 6:30 a.m. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't stay up all night on a stream with Nick Rekieta. It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. I think I went to bed last time I was on. I went to bed at 4:45 in the morning.
Oh, terrible. I cut out at 1 my time.
4:45.
I can't do it. I don't know. I
The
just don't want to be
time
miserable the next
flies.
day.
Yeah, and then I got stuck talking about visiting sex shops, which I don't do. It's a thing I don't do. It's a degenerate activity, and I have no desire to be in one. But Nick is obsessed. Nikita, that's funny. You should start calling him Nikita. That's funny. So anyway, all right. Oh, he did? He took the stream down? No way.
Wow.
No way. It was up like 2 seconds ago. I was just showing it to you guys like an hour ago. Is it really down? Well, it is YouTube and he's on his second strike. So whatever it was that was said last night, he probably should not have it up. I think, oh, you're right. It's gone. He did take it down.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
Law Nerd Clips got something off of it though. What did Law Nerd get? Let's see. Here it is. Here it is. Shall we watch this? I'm done with these people. We're finishing up where this is done, and we'll watch this and then we'll call it a day. Let's see.
Thank God.
I know. I can't watch these people anymore. All right,
They're
let's
killing
see.
me.
I haven't heard that in a while.
My
Holy
family
shit.
would be so fucking proud.
Fucking Italians ruined everything. Oh, Da Vinci.
Wait, what? You
Fuck
said you
you.
fucking ruined
You lazy
everything?
piece of
What?
shit. You sweaty, smelly monsters with hair all over the place. They got hair on their backs. They got hair on their face. They got hair in their armpits. They got hair on their shoulders. Fucking Italians, they're only surpassed by Greeks in hairiness.
Oh,
Italian jokes? That's what it is about? Like Italians and Greeks? That's no big deal, is
God.
it? We can make fun of Italians and Greeks, right, John?
I think it's okay because they're mostly white.
They're white, right?
It's true though.
Yeah.
So that's
True,
a
though.
protected.
Maybe
That's
throw
not a
like an
protected
Armenian
category.
in there, and you gotta. Yeah, that's.
No, don't throw an Armenian in anywhere unless it's in fire. What are you doing?
Or Turkey. I mean, but that goes.
Sorry,
poorly
Farron.
usually.
What were you gonna say about Jeremy?
I was just say, oh, really? The whole fucking the Italian problem. What was the fucking the Italian problem?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know because you're that fucking stupid, right? Because
I'm drunk. I don't know anything anymore.
Oh, yeah, me too. But these fucking drunk Italians can actually fucking remember what the fuck they're talking about.
So basically, it's just Farron using the F word every other second, basically.
That's pretty good.
not going to play the rest of the thing because I'll probably get my stream struck for it or something. But I don't know if this really does make some big deal. Like if somebody's making a big deal about it, like just everyone lighten up. Lighten up.
I
It's
know,
not
wouldn't
the end of the
that be
world.
nice?
It would be great if everyone could just take a joke, and like
We're in a
forgive.
world where we have doctors discussing fluid genders, giving hormone treatments to 9-year-olds.
I know. So like, but the
you
thing
know,
that people are getting mad about is Farron and Nick getting drunk on a stream and telling
and
jokes about
pretending to be
Italians
Italian. Yeah.
and Greeks. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. We have gone so far around the circle of reality that like it's just I can't even, I don't know where we are anymore. I keep telling people like, am I high? Did I not come down from the LSD trip that I took in college and this is the end result of it? Like I'm still like, I'm out there and because none of this makes sense to me. None of this makes sense to me. None of it. So yeah, people are too sensitive. Everybody needs to calm down, and I need to go back to work. So I'm killing the
too.
stream now. John,
Let's do
thanks
it.
for being here. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And,
I would say it was fun, but I mean, you made me sit through that. It was, and then you left.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I did do that. That's something that I did. But you know what I'm going to go do now? I'm going to go work out because I don't want to be fat.
2 squats!
That's what I'm going to do.
You should have ended it there without saying anything else. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, I'm out of here.